It's the SportsCage podcast brought to you by Freeze Tallman Lumber, more than a lumber yard, locally owned, family grown, rooted in our community for 70 years. In Regina and Fort Capel, and delivery available. Well, thanks for taking the time. Monday edition of the SportsCage. Follow along with the conversation anytime. You can feel free to join us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. Join in the conversation at any point. I'm Teagan Witko, of course, your host, joined by Colson Schultz, keeping us on the radio, on the stream, on X, sportscage.com, YouTube as well. You can always join in the conversation on YouTube. I'd like to have some fun here on this Monday. Lots to get to, not only in terms of, hockey. Well, something called the Stanley Cup Playoffs are happening. But more importantly, I think we need to talk about the fact that we are now 1 week out from the first preseason game for your Saskatchewan Roughriders. I know. Colson's excited too. So we have plenty of training camp coverage for you. Dave Thomas, Luc Mullinder, standing by up in Saskatoon. I think they're at the red zone right now. Probably swinging back a beer at this point. They've been busy, working all day. Lots of conversations at Griffith Stadium when it comes to training camp. Jack Cohn, it's an exclusive conversation, a one-on-one that we had with him, Josh Woods, James Vaughters, Corey Mace. He, of course, opened up main training camp yesterday and had a big press conference with all of the media. So we'll hear what he has to say now that they have all the vets back and people are battling for positions. Clutch performer. We also have that coming up, as we always do. Dante and Caria are going to swing by. First conversation we've had with him since the real deal broke. You might remember last week, this was kind of a big topic of discussion. Brant purchased a portion of Real District. We're going to talk about that. We're also only weeks away now from the start of the Regina Red Sox season. And of course, now owned by Queen City Sports and Entertainment, same management company for the Regina Pats. He will now have a bigger hand in that. And we might talk a little bit of Jays too, because there was some shuffling around on that roster today as well. More training camp coverage with Joshua Bell, defensive coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Marcus Sales, Michael Hughes, plus Darian Durant is going to swing by the show. And I think we might have to have Luc Mullinder, Dave Thomas stay around for that conversation. I already texted Darian. I was saying this to Colson earlier, and he was pretty pumped that he gets to catch up with his old pal there, Luke. Speaking of which, let's head out on that Western Pizza guest hotline, shall we? Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love for the training camp report. Dave Thomas, Luc Mullinder, you are at Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Great place to watch the game with family and friends. They got daily specials and the most screens in Saskatoon. So what are you guys sipping on?
A bunch of losers right now drinking water.
To be fair, it is a Monday at 3 p.m.
Water. Watch out for these guys.
That's right.
Watch out for these guys.
I'll tear up the town a little bit later on this week. So, training camp. First round of roster cuts happened yesterday, gentlemen. Any surprises?
To me, Austin McKinney was kind of the guy that I thought would have a real good opportunity. He's got a lot of NFL pedigree, and he played terrifically well in rookie camp. But it just goes to show that, it's a fine line between being on the roster and not in some instances. And the Roughriders are blessed in depth on the defensive backside. And Austin McKinney was a guy that they could afford to let go, which I guess leads us into main camp. You've seen 2 days worth of workouts. Your thoughts?
I've really enjoyed watching the team over the first 2 days. Obviously some really important days. You're always going to see guys who are standing out. I think a guy like McKinney, it's not necessarily about what you do. Sometimes it's just who's, like you mentioned, on the roster already, and did they show up ready for camp? Those guys, right? Like, were there guys there that Austin McKinney was potentially battling with that walked into the camp, walked through the doors, did day one of practice, and that? Never mind, So I think that what I saw from the Riders so far is, we talk about, you look at the Grey Cup that they won last year, and you automatically say, okay, well, how do you build on that, right? I remember watching from training camp the 2013 Grey Cup champions go into training camp in 2014, and there was a specific energy about them. I like the tempo right now, but more importantly, I love the fact that if you want to go and defend a championship, if you want to get back there again and earn your way back there, you're going to need the core guys that you focused on in the offseason to be the guys, especially early, because the team and the guys that are around there need to understand where the standard's going to be. And the standard has changed now that you're the Grey Cup champion and defending the title. Jameer Thurman, Trevor Harris, probably the two best guys in camp so far. Jamarcus Hardrick, close in there, a very close third, vocal leader as always. You've got a guy like Daniel Weeb, who is a second-year player, but looks like a guy that you're going to be able to depend on in order to figure out what your ratio and what your receiving core looks like with a guy like a Joe no longer being in the plans, right? You look and you see the Mike Rose, right? Rushing the passer well. You see a guy that was there and now is in the coaching ranks like Micah Johnson. You need your guys, your core guys to exemplify. Marcus Sales, Roland Milligan, those guys have looked great. And as far as expectations and setting that standard and letting everybody else know where it's going to have to be at, I think our leaders have done a tremendous job over the first 2 days.
For those of us following along from, here in Regina, not in Saskatoon, not able to watch, dive in a little deeper into what you've seen from Daniel Weeb, because I know that he caught a couple bombs from Harris, didn't he?
Yeah, it was interesting today, right, Dave? We talked to his former coach, Scott Flory, and one of the things that I was saying about Daniel Weeb is he's not just catching underneath routes against the third-string DB guys that are learning the game, right, and are out of position, even though there's only like 3 plays put in for them, right? He's going up and competing for jump balls. He's going up and beating guys one-on-one, and the quarterbacks are looking for him, and that's significantly different than just sort of standing out because you're running into the flats, right? And you're the hot guy, right? So I think that Daniel Weeb looks great, and again, you needed Daniel Weeb to come in here. You've got a guy like Sam Emilus who's going to need the support built around him to have another outstanding season. Kean Schaefer-Baker, we all know what he can do when he's healthy. However, he hasn't maintained his health through a season, right? We don't have a Joe, which was expected, right? And then you're looking at the other young guys like Deshaun Mims, Del Duncan Busby. I think Daniel Weeb's got a tremendous opportunity to be a guy and a significant contributor on the roster this year on this offense.
Okay, not bad for an 8th-round draft pick, right? But he was playing with the number 1 team today. But what about the guys that are throwing him the ball? Because if you listen to some people's narrative, they would think that Trevor Harris needs a parking spot real close to the stadium because he's 2 weeks away from turning 40. But
man, Trevor Harris has been surgical. Again, he's been one of the top 2 players in camp have been Thurman and Harris, and that's exactly what you want. He's been great. He's thrown a couple picks, but again, he's always up against the number 1 defense. He's always up against guys like Sales, but when he's been on, there's nobody better right now in that quarterback room. The guy that I really specifically have enjoyed watching is number 10, Braden Shager.
Yeah.
I think that Braden Shager has come in here and he's opened a lot of eyes. He's got a really good arm. He can anticipate. And I'll tell you what, and this is not a slight against Tommy Stevens, right? But you don't want to be the quarterback that your receivers are waiting on the football, or they're slowing down, or they're coming back when they should be running ahead or running a dig, right? I think that Shager's come in and shown a touch that's probably turned some heads. And he had a great team period today too, throwing a couple dimes.
But as soon as Jake Mayer signed with Ottawa, or it was apparent that he wasn't coming back to Saskatchewan and the Riders re-signed Jack Cohn, it's kind of like Dad's giving you the keys to the car. What are you going to do, right?
Jack Cohn yesterday looked decent. Today looked okay. The thing about Jack Cohn, and he's got a specific advantage. He's seeing the game right now and camp right now as the same way he's going to see it in day 5, right? It's the other quarterbacks, once they continue to install plays, once the pads get thrown on, things get moving a little bit faster. So Jordan McLeod, Braden Shager, the game's going to change a little bit for them, depending on how much they can absorb. Jack Cohn is going to have an opportunity to be even, but he's got to be consistent. The consistency has to be there for Jack Cohn if he's going to be the number 2 quarterback, and more important, if he's going to give the coaching staff confidence if Trevor Harris misses a game or two to be that guy. He has to be consistent all the way through camp. He's had good spots, but I think he's also, if he was to self-assess himself, there's spots that he could probably be better in.
When you talk about interesting backstories with some of these players, a name that really sticks out to me, Thor Griffith. Man, Harvard degree, wrestling background, hockey history, NFL stop. I mean, he studied, we were talking about this earlier, economics and Celtic languages while playing football at Harvard. Is there anything this guy can't do?
Didn't you take Celtic? I thought you were very fluent, no?
So listen, I appreciate Thor Griffin, and here's the reason. I had a teammate from Harvard, and he came in the locker room. His name's Tim Fleiser. He's one of my best friends, so I can say this. And he came in the locker room the first day. He had his chest puffed out, and he was and everybody found out that he had gone to Harvard too. Turns out, though, he went to Harvard for history. Like, dude, he's got come on, like, you got a history degree. Like, economics. I can feel Thor on, but you can't brag about being from Harvard and then have everybody find out that you went to Harvard for history. Like, great. You know what Christopher Columbus's boat was made of. Congratulations, right? Like, Thor actually went to. He's got a background for him. Haven't seen a lot of them though.
No, he was moving up the rep chart, I call it. I don't know if that's the right terminology or not, but then the vets come in, right? And it's really hard because you've got to compete for reps. And I don't know how that's communicated within the locker room before you got out, but clearly you understand where you are when you go out.
It's communicated differently, right? Sometimes you'll have a coach in the position meeting rooms the night before the practice say, hey, like, look, here's how many reps are out there. Here's how many the ones are taken. Sometimes coaches don't even talk about it, right? It's just going to be, it is what it is. A lot of the times, if you can pre-read your script, you'll see, hey, like, there's 12 plays. The first 6 are here, and then the second 6 are the same as the first 6. So maybe the first 6 are done by the ones, and the 2s and 3s have to split these next. But more importantly, that's the opportunity that you get to pay attention, because if the first 6 plays are being run by the vets and you're competing for a spot, and then you look down and you see the second set of 6 are repeated, you need to know what those guys did, right, and what they didn't do. So again, you're not going to get a ton of opportunities as a first-year player, but it's why, especially when I've been privileged enough to join the broadcast booth, I've always sort of hinged on it's not about how many reps, it's what you do with the ones that you get, right? Can you control the things that you can control? Are you sitting there on the sidelines pouting that you're not getting 4 reps and then going in there and half-assing the 2 reps that you did get just because you were pouting about the 4? Or do you not care? Right? Do you not care? And does the coach call you in and throw you in on 1 rep? And do you put on a clinic in that 1 rep? Right? That is where the opportunity in training camp comes for these young guys. It's not about how many reps you get in practice. It's about what you do with the reps that you do get. Sometimes you'll get 5. Sometimes you'll get 1. Sometimes you'll get 30. They're all bars of gold.
What's the biggest battle that you're seeing on the field in terms of position groups?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, this team needs pass rushers, right, Dave? I think that you had Scoop last year, who had a fantastic year, right? I think that then you lose. Not only do you lose Scoop through free agency, right, and that's what happens when you win a Grey Cup, right?
Yeah.
Teams raid your cupboards. But I think that also losing Haba Baldonado was big. You're not going to get Shane Ray, who wasn't healthy, but when he was playing, right, he did his job.
Yeah.
You've got James Vaughters right now that is a vet. But then when you look on the other side, that's kind of where you're like, what do we have here, right? So far, Desmond Evans, he's a tall, rangy kid. He's been out there. Let's see what happens when he throws the pads on tomorrow, right? He looks like he's got some great tools. Again, his length is fantastic. Yeah. He looks like maybe 2 inches under what Willie Jefferson brings to the table. I don't think he's as athletic as Willie Jefferson, but again, he's a big dude. But there's going to be a bunch of people here, Teagan, that are going to get an opportunity to show that they can be a pass rusher on this team. And when you look at what made this team successful last year is they got after it in 2nd and 7+. When there was a passing situation, they were able to manufacture pressure. And there's a bigger opportunity right now because of the absence of a guy like Caleb Saunders and Benoit Marion. Mm-hmm. Those guys are hurt. They're on the sideline, right? Lake Corte Moore isn't doing everything in practice, right? So these new guys there's a few extra reps out there for these new guys to take advantage of.
See, and I think you hit the nail on the head, but don't you have to throw the 2 pieces that I think are intriguing is the Canadian receiver spot. Dylan Jete, who the Riders drafted very high in the draft, he hasn't been healthy. Today was the first day that he did a little bit more, but he came in with an injury. So you talked about Daniel Weeb, right? You've got Deshaun Mims that's in that room when it comes to Canadian guys. Again, a guy like Benjamin Walls, who I don't know that a lot of people at Regina, right, the Regina Thunder product would have given much a shot to, but he's making the most of his reps. But the other aspect is the one thing that CJ Rivas brought last year that is really hard to find is the versatility that he had. And right, he could play and he could line up at that linebacker spot. He could drop back to the half over to the safety. Yeah. He could go wherever. And I wonder if, again, Antoine Brooks Jr. is going to have an opportunity. Aubrey Miller Jr. is going to have an opportunity. But is there a young guy like Juju Hughes that's going to go ahead and push the envelope?
Well, listen, I'm really looking forward to Antoine Brooks continuing to get more reps. Again, he's been a guy that, the Riders couldn't keep off the roster, right? Yeah. They had to play him because all he did was go out and make plays. Aubrey Miller is a dark horse here. I think that he's got an opportunity to be that guy that you can plug into a number of situations. But you've also got Josh Woods, right? The linebacker that you signed out of BC. And we don't know a ton about Josh just because he hasn't been in this system for a while. But again, when you're a vet, one of the benefits that you have is you're going to catch on to the playbook incredibly well here. So I think that it's not about replacing the production that you got out of guys like A.J. Allen last year. I just think that Josh Bell has to do a really good job of assessing who he's got in that locker room right now and where their skill set is and what does he need to adjust schematically, right? For instance, like, can we blitz Antoine Brooks Jr. as much as we sent C.J. Rivas from that strong side spot, right? Or do we actually, right, turn around and use Brooks a little bit more athletically in coverage and throw some different things at some most offensive linemen, right? Like maybe throw a halfback from. So I think that schematically you look at just sort of where your options are at the moment, understanding guys like Antoine Brooks, Aubrey Miller, Josh Woods, they're going to be in the places that you want them to be and when you want them to be there more often than not.
You brought up Joshua Bell's name. New defensive coordinator, of course, for the Riders this season. He's been on that side of the ball quite a bit, but what's that relationship been like between him and Corey Mace now that he's let up the reins a little bit?
To give you the quote that he gave me today, he goes, I've been the defensive coordinator for a while now. He goes, they just gave me the Madden controller so that I can do and call the plays that I want. So I don't know that there's going to be a great deal of difference because the two of them have been together for a long, long time. And when you work with someone, right, like for example, I'm drinking more red wine than I ever have because I've been around this guy a lot. Yeah. But I'm saying that things start to rub off on you. And while I don't anticipate it being stagnant and there's going to be some definite Josh Bell thrown in, that's what I'm saying is that it's not going to be far off, but it is going to be different.
And I don't think that you've got a head coach in Corey Mace that hands over the reins and says you have to do everything exactly like I did it.
No, I
think that Corey Mace says, look, we were tremendously successful last year, but here's why. Because theoretically, we believe in this, right? We believe in making things easy to read for our defensive backs. We believe in using athletic defensive linemen to get some pressure, right? Let's see what you and Josh Bell's going to look at it from a different. The best piece about being an influential voice in a scheme is actually being able to sit there and go through the game plan the day after a game, right? See the plays that went really well, see where the plays that you should have called differently, but more importantly, also like put yourself in there and be like, this is what I might have looked at doing, right? And I think that that's where you've got to find the balance when you're Josh Bell, when you've been with Coach Mace for a while is hey, like, I really like this conceptually in my mind. It looks different to me. How does it look when I take the things that we've been successful? Because you can't take everything and just change it. You know why? Because the core guys are still there, right? You still got Jameer Thurman. You've still got you've got a coach there that was in that scheme for the last 2 years, and Micah Johnson, right? Who by the way, the defensive linemen love the job that Micah Johnson's doing, right? They talk about it being really detailed, him being very engaged. Obviously, we had a chance to visit with him quickly. Yeah. He just had to learn about how to use all the technology and stuff that goes into the things that we do. But again, I think that there's a balance, and you just got to find the balance with the guys that you've got in camp.
Have you crossed paths with that offensive lineman, Percy Lewis, yet? 6'8", 180 pounds.
How could you miss him? Like,
yeah.
I had to. We were doing cart convos, and I had to we had delayed the start of cart convos because he was walking across the field. We didn't want to hit him, and it was hard to miss him. Like that's a big boy out there, right? So, but again, I think that when it comes to guys like like you've got guys like Percy in there, like big guys, but it's another example of the guys that you have also standing out. I think Peyton Collins has done a great job this year. He looks great at left tackle. Yeah,
it's going to be hard to argue with why would you move him, as Corey Mace was singing his praises today. But when you come to Percy Lewis the fourth, right? Okay, everybody can see the 6'8", 380, right? Yeah. You can see that.
Yeah,
but
you got to get in shape.
If you're a defensive lineman lining up against him, are you licking your chops at a big guy, or has this guy shown you enough that, oh boy, his footwork and his arms are?
Yeah, and at first you're testing it, right? Yeah. Like, is this just a big guy, or is this? Because again, you can be big, but you could be slow. Your feet could be off. Like, you might not have good hands, right? You could just be heavy. But then there's the guys that are big but are fast, that have great hands, great feet. So as a defensive lineman, those first couple reps, right, they're a really good sort of precursor to what you're going to – and now that they've had – so, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. They've got like 5 team periods in now, and they've got 2 one-on-one pass rush drills in, and they have 2 sets of inside run drill, right? So one of the things that all of these defensive linemen have now is a real good look at a guy like Percy Lewis. They got a really good look at a guy like Daniel Johnson, who, by the way, is also looking good in camp. Zach Fry's getting an opportunity to start. Darius Washington's there. So now as you see this, guys are going to get on film their weaknesses and their strengths, right? On both sides, too, defensive line and offensive line. And that's kind of as camp goes along. That's why I always talk about the game slowing down for certain guys, right? The guys that can absorb all the information, make the coaching points that your coach is giving you in terms of the adjustments, you're going to succeed versus the guys that struggle a little bit with the playbook, but also don't want to take the coaching tips that they're getting during the afternoon and evening.
Lots of conversations were had in days 1 and 2 of training camp, main training camp, of course. So we still have a couple of people that we're going to hear from here, including Jack Cohn, Josh Woods. We mentioned Trevor Harris was at camp. So we got a couple of those conversations still to come. But I think I'm going to have to let you guys run here. Last and most important question, best thing on the menu, Luke? Red Zone Sports Bar.
We haven't even gotten into it. But I mean, if I recall last year, the wings were phenomenal. Yeah. I think the onion rings were amazing.
You liked the burger.
Yeah, the burger's good. I'm probably going to have the burger now that you said that. Ooh. But, I mean, we've got all week, right? We've got 2 weeks here. It's going to be amazing. We're going to try everything on the menu, right?
Again.
Yeah, you got to test. Hey, listen, you might have gotten the good burger or the good chef, right? Like, it could be chef number 2, like
depth chart.
Yeah,
depth chart.
Colson's about to have a baby, right? So he's going and we got Colson number 2 replacing him,
that's right,
next week. And all of a sudden, if we start having tech problems, hey, right? Like, what if there's a different chef here this year? What if the cheese isn't exactly melted on the burger? We're gonna have issues.
Yes.
Colson number 2, poor Curtis. Show the man some respect.
I don't know. Colson and Colson. That's all I know.
I'm lost. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's take a quick break. We will be back with more training camp coverage. Of course, training camp reports are brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Come watch the game with friends with daily specials and the most screens in Saskatoon. Short break. We'll be back on the other side. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Monday edition of the Sports Cage. And it is brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. genuine OEM parts. They do not sell junk. I'm Teagan Witko with Colson Schultz here in the SportsCage studio on the corner of 12th and Rose. And we are bringing you all of the training camp coverage you could ask for and then some. Dave Thomas Luc Mullinder are stationed up in Saskatoon for the next couple of weeks here. Obviously, a week from today, they play their first preseason game in Calgary. So they'll make the quick hop, skip, and a jump over to Calgary, face the Stamps, and then they're going to come back here for, of course, that preseason game up in Saskatoon, which I understand tickets are selling quite well for. There are some standing room tickets last I checked for Griffith Stadium. So if you want to lock in your seats, or I guess lock in your spot, you should probably do that now. But joining us from the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge, these are who brings you the training camp report every single day. Of course, Dave Thomas is with us. And Dave, I know that you have been busy over the past several days because we are into day 2 now of training camp, main camp. Rookie camp is now passed. They made their first round of cuts. And it doesn't seem like Corey Mace has missed anything. It feels like he is just picking right back up where he left off in the playoffs of 2025.
Absolutely. The intensity and enthusiasm are never fading.
Yeah, and yesterday, day 1 of main camp, he was addressing the media. I thought this was pretty cool. Getting the gang back together. That's what he was talking about.
Awesome. Last night, just seeing everybody piled into one room. Man, one of the best days of the year. So to get them out here today, have them compete. You can tell the intensity of practice is a little higher. The speed is obviously faster. Hell of a day 1.
So, Dave, now that all the vets are back on the field, kind of feels like they're picking right back up from where they left off. Everybody healthy from what you understand right now?
Well, there are some injuries. Tavon Campbell hasn't practiced yet. He's away with a personal situation, but then you've got guys like Caleb Sanders and Benoit Marion. I'm really excited to see a guy like Ryder Varga come in, but he too has been nicked up. Thomas Bertrand-Houdon also has been out. So yeah, there have been some injuries to start camp, which is disappointing. Well,
and I know this was Saturday or yesterday. Ryder Varga was on that 6-game injured list. So do you have any indication of maybe what that could be?
It was an ACL injury that he sustained last year when he was a member of the Toronto Argonauts. So the good news is, yeah, but he's been flying around. Like, he's been jogging, sprinting, doing, just about anything on the side that Dan Farthing has him doing. So I don't know how far off that means, because I definitely am the wrong person to ask about that. But he seems close anyways. But again, it's an ACL, so those things can linger. Mm-hmm.
I'm also curious to get your take on this before we go over to some exclusive conversations that you had at Roughrider Training Camp at Griffith Stadium. Malcolm Bell reportedly, he went to a mini rookie camp with the Browns over the weekend, and 3 Down Nation is reporting that he will not be getting a contract offer. So how do you see him potentially fitting into this Rider group?
Asked about that exactly today, and right now, Coach Mace hasn't had any conversations with him or his camp or his representatives, and maybe there is a possibility that he's looking to pursue other opportunities if and when they do present themselves. But as of right now, what you know is what we know, and it's kind of up to the Riders and Jeremy O'Day and Kyle Carson and the football ops team to come to an agreement if they can. And again, I think probably one of those things that's a lingering item right now is the fact that you got to wait and see what he wants to pursue, or find out what's available to him to pursue in the NFL.
And I should probably clarify here. Malcolm Bell, of course, selected in the first round of the CFL draft, 9th overall by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And Dave, I don't know if you're aware of this, but that Sask Lottery Rider Nation scratch and win ticket comes out tomorrow is when you can officially start buying them. So I don't know if you're much of a betting man, but this ticket gives you a chance to win a top prize of $75,000. That would be a pretty nice off-season vacation.
That would actually fit a lot of different bills, but I'm really intrigued by some of the other things, right? Like season tickets for 10 years. You get to go sit in a suite for a game. Like, that would be awesome. Like, there's so many other great football packages as well. Just more than I'm not going to turn down $75,000.
Hey, if you win the $75,000, I'll take it gladly. Premium suite, and you mentioned the suite. Premium suite for the 2027 home opener and the Labor Day Classic. Those are tickets that are going to be hard to get otherwise. So that's a pretty cool experience. You're right. Tickets are only $7. Proceeds go towards more than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation organizations through Sask Lotteries. You can get your tickets starting tomorrow at any local lotto spot retailer. So you're going to want to grab those. I believe they only have a limited amount that they're able to sell. So
I believe it was 300,000, and we are giving away some starting tomorrow in the cage.
We certainly are. Thank you very much, Colson. Yeah, Barty's going to be giving those away. So if you want a chance to win one for free, you might as well just keep listening to us. Not only that, but I mean, they're $7. So treat yourself. Could turn into 75,000. Wouldn't be too shabby.
No doubt.
All right. Well, I know that you had some conversations with, Josh Woods, and we heard from head coach Corey Mace. But the first one I want to go to here is an exclusive conversation that you had with Jack Cohn. We were talking about that quarterback battle. So here he is. Oh, sorry. Just 1 second here. What did you learn speaking with Jack Cohn after the offseason, Dave?
Well, and I was curious about whether or not he was feeling pressure or not, right? Because he's coming in a unique situation for him in his professional career in the way that he's entering Rider camp, whether it be expressed explicitly or not on the depth chart. So very curious to see if he felt any of that outside pressure seeping into what he's been doing thus far in camp.
Well, let's hear what he had to say with Dave Thomas.
Quarterback Jack Cohn, rookie camp in the books, starting main camp. Tell me a little bit about where you're at and how you feel.
Yeah, I feel great. I mean, it's just great to be out here again with the guys. It's my third year in the offense, so I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with everything, and I feel like it could help out guys a lot more in terms of what I know about the offense and just helping people get lined up and learn the playbook as well. So it's good. I definitely feel a lot more comfortable, and I'm just super excited to be out here.
You're getting a lot more well-deserved reps in camp so far. How do you make the most of them?
Yeah, it's just one play at a time. I mean, I try to treat every single play I have like it's the Grey Cup, and just try to make the most of it.
This is the first time in your career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders that when you look in the quarterback room, there's only one quarterback with more experience ahead of you in this league. What does that mean? Yeah,
I mean, Trevor has enough experience for a million guys, so it doesn't mean too much for me. It just means that, there's opportunities to go ahead. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be the best version of myself.
Through the 3 years, has your transformation or change during the offseason adjusted to what you're going to be expected to do when you get to camp?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember after my first offseason, a big point of emphasis was just really working on my arm strength and just being able to touch all spots of the field. It was an adjustment for me my first year, just how wide and big the field was. And I just take that with me every single offseason, and like always, just try to work on my athleticism, arm strength, and be able to make more plays.
Do you push Trevor Harris in the room when you're talking in the meetings or even on the field? Is that the kind of relationship you have?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're always trying to compete. Trevor's obviously one of the hardest workers on the team, if not the hardest worker, and I see whatever he does, and I try to take it one step past. Whether I do or not, I mean, it depends on the day. I mean, it's just kind of the relationship we have. I mean, we pretty much do everything together, but if I see him in the weight room and he's doing a certain amount of weight, he'll be making fun of me if I'm doing less. So it's that kind of relationship, and he's just an awesome guy to be around.
Is this camp and preseason an opportunity for you to really stake your claim, not only with the Riders, but in the CFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, I haven't done a thing in this league yet, so I'm just trying to make the most out of every single day, and when I get my opportunities, just make the most of them and just see where it goes from there.
So what is the mindset then as we head towards what's going to be a condensed preseason, a regular season that gets off to a little bit of a stutter start with a bye week? How do you get yourself ready?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just trying to make the most of every single play. And, I since I've been here, I've always just viewed myself as the starter in waiting. So I just try to take that mindset onto the field, that I'm always a play or two away. So that's just my mindset.
Jack, so far so good. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the quarterback battle continues at main camp up in Saskatoon for your Saskatchewan Roughriders. That was our own Dave Thomas with Jack Cohn. Now, shifting gears a little bit here, Dave, I want to talk about Josh Woods here. Now, Josh Woods, 5 seasons with the BC Lions, played in 55 regular season games, 152 defensive tackles, 25 special teams tackles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Impressive resume.
Very impressive resume, but there's one thing on that resume that stands out, and of course, someone had to bring it up, right? The member of the BC Lions who lost to the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the West Final last year, and he still remembers that game. 2 or 3 guys that took the brunt of the reps in the linebacking core last year are gone. How do you go ahead, and I don't want to say replace, but how do you insert and inject yourself into the lineup?
Yeah, that was one thing that Bell told me right away when I signed is don't try to fit in, just be yourself. So, yeah, I'm not here to be anybody that was here before, so don't expect that. You're going to expect Josh Woods. And, I play different. My style is different, so I'm going to bring different things to the table, and it's going to be fun.
So what are some of those differences?
I'm a long-rangey guy. I like to do a little bit of everything. So, like I said, if I can make the job easier for the mic, that's good. At the other team, I was playing everything. So here, I don't have to be as much of that role, but I can plug and play and try to make everybody's job easier, try to make the smart plays, and, whatever they need, disguises, put my hand in the dirt, play high, like all that type of stuff. I like moving around and doing everything. So I'm going to hope to bring that to the team.
You mentioned playing with Jameer Thurman. How big is that?
Man, I haven't been able to play with somebody I feel like of that in the CFL, some like a vet that has that status. I'm excited to pick his brain and, like I said, help try to make things easier for him and let him play how he wants to.
So is it easy to step into this lineup and this system? Has there been a crash course on the playbook?
Yeah, honestly, I think the personnel makes it easier. The coaches give that freedom to fly around, but the personnel is really dialed in. There's so many great players around that really, know the system so well inside and out that it has made it easier for a guy like me to come and just plug and play. Day one, and it feels like I've already, got to know the guys. I've been here for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't feel like I was lost and everything. So I'm just really excited to be with this group.
You are a respected veteran in this league. How do you prepare yourself for the season? Obviously, there's an evaluation process that is on, but there's such a compressed preseason schedule for this team moving forward. How do you make sure you're ready to go and at your best?
Just being ready to go, being reliable, being available. Like I said, learning the ins and outs, plug and play, trying to help some of the young guys that might not get the most reps. Try to be an example, fly around, get to the ball. Stuff like that to try to be in shape because, we're not getting as many reps you'd get in a game. Sometimes some games you're going to get 60, 70, maybe 80 reps. Today probably got around 20 or 30, if that. So just, staying in shape, staying healthy. That's like the biggest thing during camp. And just learning the room. I feel like, when you get to know people, you want to play better for them, and like I've never been a stat guy. The only stat I care about is wins and losses. So whatever I can do to help the group win, and I want to get a Grey Cup. So, that's what I'm chasing and trying to help the team.
So that was Dave Thomas with Josh Woods' main camp up in Saskatoon Griffith Stadium. And head coach Corey Mace talked about what Josh Woods brings to the table.
He's excellent, certainly just based off of size alone. He can be able to fit the box. He's tough to throw balls in behind in passing lanes and windows, and he's a cerebral player. And he's got a background with our linebackers coach and Travis Brown that they were together in a previous spot. So just for him getting acclimated now to the new playbook, our style of play, shouldn't be too tough though. We identify a lot of stuff he does already we like.
So that, of course, was head coach Corey Mace talking about Josh Woods. As the competition heats up, things are getting fun up in Saskatoon. I'm sure we are bringing you training camp reports all the way through main camp here, thanks to Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. And another conversation that was had between yourself, Dave, and one of the players, Vaughters. That is James Vaughters, a name that we are well familiar with.
Absolutely, right? He has a pedigree in the National Football League. Of course, Calgary, been there 3 different times. He was in Winnipeg last year, and much to my chagrin, Luke, he's wearing a number 9, which I'm not in favor. You are in favor of the number 9.
I think single digits on defensive linemen look awesome. I'm a fan of that.
Okay.
I can get down with that.
Fair enough, but he's definitely making an impact in camp so far, Teagan.
And you know what? Even head coach Corey Mace had something to say about James Vaughter.
We had a good conversation. I had Vaught as a young pupil a couple spots ago for us, and just seeing, how the trajectory of his career and what he is. He's extremely smart, and his football IQ at the position, specifically as it plays to this league, is at a high level, and he's a high motor guy and aggressive hands, man. Those are intangibles you can win with.
Head coach Corey Mace talking about James Vaughters. And, you had a conversation with James Vaughters about what the appeal of this team is in the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
I appreciate being somewhere where I'm wanted, and I feel like I'll be appreciated. And I think that has more to play into it than how good the team was last year. So I love playing the game, and I love to be encouraged to play my game.
So how important is that, being able to draw those connections? I mean, Vaters has a connection with Mace, Micah Johnson, Mike Rose, Josh Bell, McDaniel, Yoshi, Andrew Harris. Like, there's a lot of people on this team he already knows. So how much does that familiarity play into comfortability and hopefully ultimately success?
See, you've done that. Like, you know what that's all about.
Yeah, I think that it helps the most during camp, because you have guys that you have a ton of experience, they know you, and during those drawn out moments in the locker room, everybody's getting taped, for instance. You're about to walk out there practice. You could either kind of be by yourself and quiet, right, in the corner of the locker room, or you could be like, hey man, did you see blah blah blah, right? Like, it helps you acclimate yourself. The thing about a vet, it's not the football that you have to worry when you're there. Like, it's not me learning the playbook. Vot's gonna get the playbook right off the bat, right? Because he's a vet here. He knows a ton of guys. It's acclimating yourself to a new team, to a new set of beliefs, a new way of just sort of engaging with your teammates. And I think that it's different in Saskatchewan, because you end up spending, I think, a little bit more time with each guy in Saskatchewan than you would if you played in Toronto or BC.
And that can definitely translate into success. I mean, it's definitely nice going into a new environment where you happen to know all of these people. And we asked James Vaters about just that.
When you're coming into a situation where there's guys that you play with and guys that you've been coached by before, I think there's a matter of trust that comes into that. And it's like, well, I don't know before I'm in that situation whether I'll be appreciated. I think if you can go based on past experiences and past impressions, I think that it's really easy to expect that kind of appreciation. And I think on a staff where you have a lot of former players, you would expect that there's a relatability there that, when you're in other situations, sometimes it's not the case. So I think that's players appreciating players, and, having a voice to encourage the entire organization to operate that way. And I think just the fact that they hire so many former players, I think it shows that appreciation. You hope that trickles down.
James Vaters, of course, talking about main camp with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And when you look at veterans on this roster, name that I think stands out for a lot of people is in that QB room. When you look at Trevor Harris coming off a Grey Cup winning season, and I mean, he did address what that meant to him as he was able to tour around that Grey Cup now that we're getting back to business.
You could feel it during the week of the Grey Cup afterwards, that how much pride the province took in the team. And, it was just really awesome to deliver the trophy to those people and allow them to kind of see it and take pictures with it. And, it's awesome because they're like, man, this is the trophy you see on TV all the time. Look at it, it's right here. And, so it's just really cool to kind of communicate with people and see how excited they were for that. But, I think they were on the same page as us, because at the end of almost every interaction was this year again, right? So, but, we're not focused on that. If you start focusing on the end goal, you're off course from where you're trying to go. And to me, we're just trying to put one foot in front of the other, be the best version we could be of ourselves today, and we'll swim in the deep end when it's time.
So that was Trevor Harris. Dave Thomas Luc Mullinder joining us from the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Travel Lodge up in Saskatoon as we talk training camp here. I hope that's what a lot of fans take with them is, okay, run it back. Grey Cup champion in Saskatchewan, only the 5th team to ever do it, and maybe a little bit less focus on his age. I know his birthday is coming up in a couple of weeks here, but that just feels like a constant question. And head coach Corey Mace was actually asked about that on day one.
Is he 40 yet?
Yeah, soon, in 3 weeks, I think.
Well, let's not crush him yet. I'm joking. Look, if you tell me that there's anything different from the 39-year-old to the 40, I'd want to know, because he just looks like Trevor Harris to me, man. So how he operates day in, day out, whether we're in season or off season, he's 100% football man, and it shows.
Yeah, I think at some point it is impressive, that he, at this point in his career, is still just so absolutely dominant and surgical with his precision and how good he has played this past year. Are we done with those comments yet, do you think, gentlemen?
I think that you need to take a page out of Kurt Signetti's quote book, head coach, national championship team in Indiana this year. And one of the things that he said about his quarterback is that the quarterback has two best friends in Saskatchewan. And I mean, he's Saskatchewan at this time. Trevor Harris has two best friends. Right, he's got a good run game and a great defense, right? And I think that that's what sets Trevor Harris up for so much success in this organization specifically. They have a great run game. They lean on it. They understand it schematically and how it fits into just success as it rolls out. And they have a fantastic defense. And I think that that's why Trevor Harris is able to come out here. I don't care what exactly. I agree with Coach Mace, right? Like, he doesn't look 40, right? And one of the ways that you're going to be able to look 45 real quick is if you have a crappy offensive line, if you don't have a run game, and your defense sucks. That is how you'll see your quarterbacks age at any stage of their life, right? So I think that the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and this is what I appreciated about J.O. and Mace, is J.O. continues to focus on building the guys from the inside out, the trenches, right? Offensive line, defensive line. And Mace has been very upfront about the way they're approaching it, right? Having to earn their way back. So if you're going to earn your way back, you're going to have to lean on the things that you got there with, and more importantly, you have to look at them as an asset and not take advantage of that. So I think that Trevor Harris is going to be set up for success as long as they continue building into their O-line, running the football, and playing great defense.
So is that why Sarkisian looked like he was 88 years old when he played for us?
Yeah.
No offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. Well,
Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah. Sark was a little bit of a party animal too, though. So, that was...
Well, it is not lost upon Trevor Harris that he still needs to put in the work.
The fact that I'm getting to play in my 40s is, I'm just grateful to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's awesome that He's blessed me with health and the work ethic and everything that I've been able to do to kind of get to this moment. So all glory and honor goes to Him. But I've told people this, and I'm not like this. I'm not like blowing smoke. I honestly believe my best football is in front of me, and I think my best football is right here in front of me. And we've got the offensive coordinator, the personnel, and the people to do it. And so I think it's time to raise the bar even higher.
Never satisfied. That's what championships sound like.
Like, we didn't talk about a lot last year, Teagan. We didn't talk about a lot about how old Aaron Rodgers was in the NFL, right?
Well, some people
they
did.
talked about how he was a bit slow. But you know what? Not as much as they did when he was with the Jets. They want to know why? Because the Jets couldn't run the ball. They had a crappy offensive line, and their defense sucked, right? And you were able to focus on Aaron Rodgers' age real easily then. You know what I mean? Pittsburgh, though, they're a tougher team, right? They believe in the trenches, So it trailed off a little bit, right? To where that they're still entertaining the fact that Aaron Rodgers can still play in the league. You know what I mean? Like, if he had played in New York again, that would have been all over. They would have forced him out, right? So, again, I think that you just continue to do the things that you were successful last year and leading up to last year, and Trevor Harris will be all right because he looks great, man. He looks great, but he's got to be able to make his throws.
Well, we do have to take a quick break here, gentlemen. We'll let you go top up your water at the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Travel Lodge in Saskatoon, because there are questions coming in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, specifically one for you, Dave. We'll get to that probably on the other side of 4 o'clock here, because we got to go. We'll be back on the other side. It's a Sports Cage, and it's on 620 CKRM, streaming at sportscage.com. Centennial Cup Flin Flon Bombers did beat the Greater Sudbury Cubs this morning with a final of 6-4, so they get a day off tomorrow before they take on the Bearcats to finish out the round robin on Wednesday. NHL playoffs were into the second round, of course. The Avs and Wild go at it tonight. Minnesota looking to even up that series. Colorado, they might be tapping Blackwood for tonight's game because, yeesh. PWHL, tonight's Game 5 of the PWHL Walter Cup Playoffs has been postponed between Minnesota and Montreal at Place Bell. This is due to player safety concerns related to illness. The press release did specifically say not related to hantavirus. MLB, Toronto Blue Jays, Tampa Bay Rays goes at just after 5 o'clock tonight. Barger is on the IL with an elbow inflammation. He was scratched yesterday, and Lauer has been designated for assignment after his recent outing. SportsCage.com poll. What position battle are you watching closely at Roughrider Training Camp? Vote at SportsCage.com. That was your Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Group of Companies. Well, hello there. Monday edition of the Sports Cage. My name is Teagan Witko. I'm your host. joined by our wonderful producer here, Mr. Colson Schultz. Wow. You think I can say your name by now? At least I'm not calling you Colson 2. Luc. Luc Mullinder and Dave Thomas are...
I'm not Colson 2, I'm Colson 1.
Yeah, you're Colson 1. It's like thing 1, thing 2. We'll get it figured out eventually. We'll get it sorted. Dave and Luc, they are joining us throughout the afternoon from the Red Zone Sports Bar up in Saskatoon. Training camp reports, of course, will be happening throughout the day, and still plenty to get to there. We're going to have a conversation with kicker Michael Hughes and Marcus Sales, also Joshua Bell. We were talking a little bit about him stepping into that new position with the Riders this year. So more to come on all of that. Monday edition of the show is brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. European diesels, pickups, tractors, and semis. They have your hard parts, genuine OEM replacement diesel parts. They do not sell junk. And I did just want to remind you, you can join in the conversation at any point. We do have a few questions coming in here for Dave and Luc, who have been at training camp for the past little bit here. So if there's anything that you would like us to ask them specifically, happy to do that. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals for small power tools, skid steers. They probably have what you need. Go deal direct with the owner at 600 Albert Street. But without further ado, I don't want to keep our guest here waiting. Let's dive in. Western Pizza Guest Hotline with Dante Caria. How you doing, Dante?
Teagan, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Good. It's nice to see some baseball weather in the forecast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually raining right now, I guess, at the Pats office and near the Harvard Media Studio offices. But we've got a game tonight, so nice to finally get some water for the grass, maybe get it a little bit greener.
Yeah, that would be nice. But, I mean, baseball season is nipping at our heels here in Saskatchewan. We'll talk about that in a bit because I know you have a different / expanded role with the Regina Red Sox. But can we talk about the biggest story of the month, probably the real deal, the sale? Obviously, with Brant now acquiring a piece of Real District, what does that mean for you and the Regina Pats?
Yeah, honestly, Teagan, I don't know a whole lot about the whole sale and the whole situation. I guess just kind of theoretically speaking, I think it's awesome. For the Brant Group of companies and Brant Sports and Entertainment to be able to control everything when it comes to the Brant Center and stuff like that is just more beneficial for the organization. Honestly, don't know how much I could say because I don't know a whole lot about the situation. Maybe I'm not the right person to ask, but I think it's exciting regardless.
I think for a lot of, Regina Pats fans, at least, they're looking further down the road, infrastructure improvements and stuff like that. I know that you can't confirm or deny anything, but maybe there's a Memorial Cup hosting gig in our future, right? Like it's just now the world is our oyster, so to speak.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know what is kind of in store. Everything that you guys have seen in the media or on Twitter and stuff like that is everything I know. So maybe I'm not the right guy to ask when it comes to this stuff. But I think overall it's a positive for the organization, whether it's Red Sox or Regina Pats. But yeah, for Pats fans, I think, maybe some improvements to the rink will benefit the players. I think that's the big thing for me when I look at this. And I'm sure if you ask Dale, because the NCAA is driving a lot of players out of this league because of their facilities and the ability to recruit players at a young age and convince them to come to the Western Hockey League, whether it be for 1 or 2 or 3 years, is still better than not having those players at all. So the CHL is now having to compete with those elite NCAA programs that have the money and have the infrastructure and have the resources. And junior hockey obviously doesn't necessarily have some of those resources that those schools have, especially with the funds. I read a survey the other day that apparently the college football teams essentially pay for all the other NCAA sports teams at, say, a Penn State. So the Penn State football team will pay for the basketball teams and, hockey teams, facilities, funds, et cetera, which is like literally crazy. And that's how much money they make. So, they have that, right? And, unfortunately, junior teams don't have that.
So when we look at, let's go back to last week. WHL prospects draft took place. What stood out to you the most for the Pats class?
Well, drafting a goalie number 9 wasn't necessarily something that I kind of saw coming. I know the Pats not haven't necessarily had an elite goaltender in a very, very, very long time. Max Paddock was, to me, the last really good goalie that the team had in recent memory. And then you go back to Tyler Brown, and then it had been a long time since Regina had a good goaltender. In fact, still the best goaltender in franchise history is Josh Harding, and he hasn't been here in a very long time. So the organization has not had very good luck with developing goaltenders and drafting goaltenders. And Dale Durant has a little bit of history in drafting goaltenders in the top 10. He did it in 2014 when he was the director of player personnel with the Prince Albert Raiders. And that player turned out to be pretty good, winning CHL goaltender of the year. So it's happened before, but yeah, that was kind of the biggest surprise for me. And then right after that, Dale, after taking Fletcher McDonald at number 9, the goaltender, he decided to take 2 defensemen with his, 2 of the next 3 picks. And I asked him about that. And, in his interview that, he did with us in the media, he said that he really wanted to build from the back out. So he started with getting the best goaltender in the draft class, number 1, securing that. And then he got, 2 really good skating defensemen, tough, big, 6'2" style defensemen that he felt could really help the team move the puck up the ice in the future. And then he started to add forwards. So knowing that you have Maddox and Liam, as your forwards of the future, he really wanted to get some defensemen that could potentially complement them and, for however long they're here with the team.
For sure. Now, tell me a little bit about this Fletcher McDonald, because, taking a goaltender that high is a big statement. Do you think he has the potential to be a franchise player, and maybe what can fans expect from him?
Well, I was talking to Max Paddock about this, and he said at the start of the year he was kind of like a projected 6th, 7th, 8th round pick at the start of the year, and then he just started just really taking off with things. And he was playing on not a very good team at CAC in Edmonton, and that was a team that was losing games 1-0. They could not score for their life. He was heavily getting outshot. In fact, in his league, he faced the most shots, 300 more shots than the next closest goaltender. And in the playoffs, he stopped, I think it was 93 of 96 total shots. In the playoffs, they lost both games 2-1 and 1-0. This is a guy that was giving up 2 or less every single night, and his team was still losing. I talked to Dale, Tristan, and Max, and they went and watched him a couple times this year, and some of our other Alberta scouts watched him quite a bit, and they were like, this guy reminds me of Carey Price. In fact, our Alberta scout, Andrew Archer, was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens back in the day and actually played in Laval with Montreal's AHL team with Carey Price, and he said that this guy really reminds him of Carey Price as far as, how poised he is in the net. He's 6'3", 200 pounds already at 14 years old. Could grow to 6'6", 6'7", from what I understand. He's already got the size and the strength at a very young age. And he plays the puck really well. Comes out of his net, very confident, is able to rip it around the glass, which always helps. If your goaltender can get that puck and move it quickly to the defenseman or even get it up to the forwards in transition, especially during a line change, it just allows your offense to burst up the ice that much better. So that's what I've been able to gather about Fletcher McDonald. So from the sounds of it, it seems like a pretty good pick by the Pats.
Well, yeah, if you're putting his name up there with guys like Carey Price, that's impressive. I know that he aims to model his own style of game after Jake Ottinger. So again, some pretty impressive names there. Yeah, Jake Ottinger's a really good goalie. That's a guy that, went the college route. If you look at, goaltenders in the NHL, Canada has had a really tough time recently after Carey Price really developing elite goaltenders. You've seen the United States and some of the, the European countries like Sweden, Finland, and Russia really develop a ton of goaltenders, and that's because it's a position that takes a ton of time. So one of the reasons why I say that, Teagan, is that I think fans have to give Fletcher McDonald time, right? He's not going to play at 15, obviously, next year. He's going to have to play at U18. And then at 16, he probably comes in as a backup goaltender. You don't really see any 16-year-old goalies in the league, if not at all, as a starting goaltender. It's very rare. It really doesn't happen. And then at 17, he'll be the starting goaltender. And, 17 as a starting goaltender is tough. And then, by 18, he's ready to be the number one guy and hopefully be the best goaltender in the WHL. But it's,
Yeah, it's a weird position. It's one that you can't predict. I mean, you look at, the top goalies in the NHL. It takes time to get there. Most of them are going the college route and spending a lot of years in the American League before, coming up and playing in the NHL. So I think Pats fans have to be patient with Fletcher McDonald, understanding that it's going to be, close to 3 years before he's the number one guy.
So staying with the WHL, I imagine you've been following along with the Prince Albert Raiders run to the final. So what's impressed you most so far about this series?
Well, the series is split at 1. I haven't had the chance to watch the games, but I've been following online and, following the scores. It's a really tight series. I do want to say I'm quite proud of Kelly Rempel, my colleague here, who I've done games with for the last 5 years, to have the opportunity to do color on TSN with Peter Labardius. I think that's awesome. But Prince Albert's a good team. I guess what stood out is that both teams are very systemly sound. They're structured. And honestly, I think this could be a 7-game series. Prince Albert will have the next 3 games on home ice, Teagan. So if they're able to win 2 of those 3 games, they're in good shape going back to Everett. But it's been a fun series so far, I think.
Oh man, that barn is going to be absolutely insane up in PA. Oh, I would love to go up there.
Yeah, so would I. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, at least we can still watch it on TV. There's still ways.
Yeah.
It is kind of amazing, though, how once they get to this point, it is normally a rivalry team, so to speak, for the Regina Pats and their fans. But then as soon as they make it to the final, everybody's all on the bandwagon. Let's go.
Well, I don't know about that because, your Prince Albert's a rival team, but I have a lot of respect for that staff. I think Ryan McDonald's an amazing coach. He had my vote for the WHL Coach of the Year. Every broadcaster gets a vote. I voted for Ryan McDonald, and a lot of respect goes out to Steve Hamilton in Everett. He won the award, and obviously he had a great season as well. But I think Ryan's amazing. Him and I have built a really strong relationship over the last 5 years in covering that team in the league. And he's the type of guy that we'll talk for about 15, 20 minutes before I even turn the mic on for a pregame interviewing. As a young coach coaching, baseball, he's a guy that I've gone to for a lot of advice and guidance and stuff like that because, he coached at the youth level before, working his way up to the WHL. And, obviously he played for the Pats, too, and played for the Prince Albert Raiders. He was a good player. He was actually involved in the Josh Harding trade back in the day, funny enough. Curtis Hunt, former Pats GM and coach, done a great job with that team. There's a lot of Pats ties there. Cliff Mapes was formerly the head of business with the Regina Pats for a long time. So there's a lot of ties in Prince Albert to the Regina organization, which is why I really enjoy spending time with that team and talking to them because they've come through Regina before.
Well, I think it's going to go 7 games as well, if I'm being honest here, and I wouldn't be upset about that because it just means more hockey.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but baseball's around the corner, Teagan, isn't it?
It is, and I know you've expanded your role with the Regina Red Sox under new ownership, of course, the same ownership group that runs the Regina Pats, Queen City Sports and Entertainment. So I know you're a baseball guy. You won Grassroots Coach of the Year last year. So this has got to be pretty exciting for you personally to have more of an expanded role with the Regina Red Sox.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be nice to be around the field and spend time with Ryan Pathakos and his staff, and obviously as you and I know Mitch McDonald pretty well, and Mitch has been nice enough to come out and help out with my baseball team a little bit. In fact, we have a game tonight at Lions Park, which is the field that he helps his dad with. So great baseball family there. And, obviously, I've had the opportunity to get to know a lot of people with the Red Sox, Sharon Clark and Gary Brotzel over the last, 4 or 5 years that I've been volunteering with the team as a, fill-in play-by-play guy or color or just being at the field and stuff like that. And I know you like being at the field as well. It's a fun time. It's a great family atmosphere. I expect that will be the same atmosphere this year. And, the Red Sox are, I think, going to have a really good team. They've got some returning players. They've got, I do a lot of pitching lessons indoors over the course of the winter. And there's a couple players that I know that have been training in the city. So I've been able to see Colton Bank over the course of the winter really improve. So I'm looking forward to seeing what, he can do in his 3rd season with the Red Sox. He's still a young man at 20. And Rye's been able to recruit some really good hitters. So I think the Red Sox offense has a lot of really nice pieces.
So you having a bigger role, no pressure coming into a franchise that are the defending league champions.
I guess, yeah. I guess I have a little bit of an expanded role, kind of somewhat similar to what I would have done last year a little bit. I mean, obviously a little bit more games this year compared to just kind of filling in for home games and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's an exciting time for Brand Sports and Entertainment to be able to run both franchises. But I really think that Rye and Gary have done a good job putting this team together. And, you know, I really think the strength of this team will be their offense. You know, I think the pitching staff is unknown. You know, we'll have to wait and see on who comes and performs, you know, based off how many innings they had in college and stuff like that. But I really do think that the Red Sox biggest strength, especially getting Brady Vye back from Point University, will really strengthen the team.
Well, and they're making signings all the time. It's always nice to see those local products coming here as well, because I know you were probably at some of those games in the playoff last season. It's just, there's nothing that beats a sold out Curry Field. It's one of the best atmospheres in the game.
It really is a fun atmosphere. You know, I think the organization is working on doing improvements to the field and hopefully adding some more capacity as well, which would be great. I think some of those grandstands maybe need a little bit of work. I know that when people are sitting on them down the lines, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's just kind of the beauty of that field and the history that it has. And, you know, it's a field that's used by, you know, the U18, AAA White Sox and Athletics and Wolfpack and stuff like that. So, you know, obviously the Senior League here, the Trappers use it as well. So, you know, the Red Sox aren't the only team that uses that field. Last year we had the Senior Men's National Championship at Curry Field. So it's a field that has seen a lot of really cool and fun games over the last couple of years. So, you know, the WCBL is a big part of that field, but there are a lot of, you know, important, you know, community teams that also play at that field as well. In fact, I'll be heading there tonight, I believe. I believe the U18 White Sox are playing there tonight, and I got to check out some of the kids that I know.
Nice. I like that. We'll bring a blanket because it's probably going to get cold later tonight.
I got a game too, so I got to finish my game first and then go there.
Gotcha. Always on the go. Dare I even bring it up? The Toronto Blue Jays?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm fine to talk about it.
Okay. Making some roster moves, injury shuffles. Barger on the IL now. Lauer designated for assignment.
No surprise.
Yeah. So are we officially in that territory where people are allowed to say, oh, we're cooked?
No. What is it, 16-21 is the record? Is that correct, Keith?
I do believe so, yes.
Yeah, something like that. Well, Kirk needs to come back from injury, number one. Mm-hmm. They're starting to get healthy. Barger came back from injury over the weekend. I know they lost a tough one yesterday, and they went with the opener. Miles was awesome through 3 innings of work, and then I know Eric Lauer wasn't great. I don't think it was great what he did, kind of calling out John Schneider in the media, saying that he didn't like to be a reliever, opener, or whatever he was upset about. But, you know, they have some nice young pieces. Not too sure what they're going to do with Heineman or Valenzuela. I think Valenzuela, being younger, will stick. Heineman will get optioned or released, and Kirk will come back from injury. You know, yeah, I mean, Vlad Guerrero's hitting .320 on the season, but he only has 2 home runs. Him and Ernie Clement have the same amount of home runs.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
I think people are maybe hitting the panic button a little too soon here. But I feel like not just Toronto sports fans. I'm saying this for all of Canada because it's the only Canadian team in the league. But it's either they're contenders or they're completely cooked. Throw the jersey out, light it on fire. You know what I mean? There's no in between.
I know. Yeah, the Jays, they have a good pitching staff, and I think they've got a really good chance to win this year, Teagan. I really do. I think they still got a lot left in the tank.
Okay, well, I like the positive attitude. I dig it. Well, I better let you run here because I've taken up far too much of your time already, and you have some baseball to go play. Well, thank you. I really appreciate this, Dante.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
So Dante Caria, play-by-play voice, of course, for your Regina Pats and also communications for the Regina Red Sox. He was joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Still plenty on the way. We're going to be hearing from kicker Michael Hughes of the Saskatchewan Roughriders at training camp. Main camp opened up just yesterday. Marcus Sales, also a familiar name that we're going to be hearing from in just a bit. And then Joshua Bell. We're also going to hear from him as he steps in officially as the defensive coordinator for your Saskatchewan Roughriders. And I did just want to mention here really fast before we take a break. If you haven't already signed up for this, you probably should. The 620 CKRM Country Cookout. So it's the original Country Cookout. It's a chance for us to go grab food from Nikki's Catering and Cafe. We load up the trucks. We bring the music. We bring a performer. We come direct to your farm, your acreage, and we throw a party. We feed you. We have a good time. We give you a bunch of prizes. Boom. It's done. So if this is something that you might be interested in, we might be bringing our crew out to yours. This is every Tuesday and Thursday until the end of the month. Colin Lovequist also broadcasts live from the nearby community. So just listen for that dinner bell to ring. And if you want to get signed up, you can, of course, do that on our website as well, 620ckrm.com. Just wanted to give that a quick little mention here because last week, in fact, one of the locations that we went to ended up being the Log House that shut down highways across Saskatchewan because they had to move that massive home. And by the way, it is absolutely stunning. Ryan Young from 620 CKRM, he was showing me pictures when they got back. Yeah, I understand now why it took, weeks or months? Had to shut down highways to move this massive log cabin to a new parcel of land. I'm kind of glad I wasn't there because I would have spoke out of turn asking how much it cost them. That might have been a little inappropriate. Yeah. Would not have been cheap. But yes, sign up. Country Cookout. We do this every spring and fall for harvest and seeding. So this is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage brought to you by Smokem Diesel. If you're a fix-it-yourself type of person, Smokem Diesel can supply you with injectors, injection pumps, turbos, and all diesel hard parts. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. Clutch Performer straight ahead. It's the Sports Cage. And it's on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com.
More than just a lumberyard, Fries Tallman is built on community. Locally owned and rooted in Saskatchewan for 70 years, with locations in Regina and Fort Qu'Appelle. Whatever your project, they're here to help. Visit FriesTallman.com.
Oh, Clutch Performer time. I do have a couple.
So do I.
Do you want to go first?
I'm still getting myself coordinated here. I haven't been on camera yet.
Yes, you've been a little bit busy today.
There's been a few things.
It's still a Monday, and apparently there are gale force winds here in downtown Regina. Also, I don't see any rain. I thought Dante said it was raining.
There was some rain. I saw a bit of it, but...
Nah, fake news. I don't believe it.
Okay.
Okay, Clutch Performers for Kelm Solar. Who do you got?
I'll start with my unclutch first. On the one hand, I feel bad for the sports fans in Philadelphia, but both of their teams that were still in the playoffs got swept. So,
yeah. Ouch.
Unclutch by the Philadelphia 76ers and the Flyers.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Rough day for Phillies fans.
They can handle it, though. Come on, they still love Gritty.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love Gritty. And they can handle it. They're fine.
Exactly. And then I don't know if you wanted this one. I saw that you sent it, but Lane Hudson ran into a Montreal Canadiens fan.
Yes.
Yeah, so those who don't know, Oliver Roux, I believe is how he's pronounced.
Yeah, Roux.
Is 7'8", 7'9".
Allegedly 7'9". He was 7 foot by the time he was 12 years old.
Yeah, he is the tallest college basketball player ever, and he is from Quebec. So made an appearance at the game, and he is standing next to, how tall is Lane Hudson? Not that tall.
I think he's like 5'9", maybe.
Yeah,
he's not the tallest guy.
To 7'9", so that's a 2-foot gap you're seeing right there.
It almost looks like just the way they took this picture. If you're watching it on the stream, by the way, you can see what we're talking about. They could fit all of Hudson in his jersey.
It does look like that.
It kind of like that might cover my entire queen size bed. Just that one jersey. It's impressive though. And hey, he's showing up and he's representing. I love it. I can appreciate it.
There's that one. And then do you want to take your Mackenzie Hughes one?
I would love to. So this is Canadian golfer Mackenzie Hughes. Rough week at the Truist Championship. But Saturday, he got a little bit of extra help during a shot on the par 3. 13th hole. Oh, no.
Camera guy took it straight to the melon. He's now only one over for the day.
I shouldn't laugh.
No!
You can hear it.
Oh, the camera guy took it straight to the
He
melon.
even yelled 4.
Well,
So-
after he hit it, which I know is when you're supposed to.
Yeah, that was rough. So this is at Quail Hollow. Smacked the guy right in the head. Bounced onto the green. Now, what you don't see on camera is actually the fact that Hughes went out of his way, beelined it right over to the camera person and made sure that he was okay, shook his hand, went as far as to give him a signed glove.
Yeah.
So
After
that's
that, you
clutch.
kind of have to.
I mean, so it clutch on Hughes for handling it well, clutch on the nameless camera person who helped him improve his score for the day.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, man, that poor guy.
I got a few more here. So, Habs head coach Marty St. Louis was doing some media I was following Game 3 here, and he took a moment to pause and recognize one of the broadcasters there. French name, so I'm going to mispronounce it, but Renaud Lavoie, because he had suffered a stroke. Actually, it was following Game 3 in round 1. He had suffered a stroke, and it was making an appearance again. So here's the video and audio, just all the media showing their appreciation for him making a comeback.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And let me just preface that by saying media rooms and scrum rooms like this, there is never clapping.
No. Yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
Clutch on the recognition and clutch on coming back from a stroke.
Yeah, that's pretty clutch.
Yeah.
I have an unclutch.
Sure.
So there was a post that went out yesterday, being Mother's Day, by USA Hockey. Their verified account. This is actually their account. And they had a picture of McAvoy. I didn't send this to you. I'm so sorry, Colson, so this won't be on the stream. But Charlie McAvoy, it was the back of his jersey, and he was extending up into the seats, and he was holding someone's hand. And it basically just said to all the hockey mums out there, all the hockey mums who play hockey, Happy Mother's Day. We couldn't do it without you. And it's this picture of McAvoy. So later, you go to the comment section, then you see Holly McAvoy commenting on it. I'm his sister.
Ooh. Ooh. Ouch. I was going to say, it's the wrong person's hand he's holding, isn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely a sister. This is why you fact check things. So unclutch USA Hockey. Guys, double check your stuff. That's not good.
It's still there. I found it.
Oh, they didn't even take it down?
Nope, it's not down yet.
Oh my goodness, guys. Like, what are we doing here?
They disabled comments.
I wonder why.
Okay.
Well, and how slighted would his mother feel?
Just a bit.
You're posting my 2 kids, but you can't even find a picture of me. My son is a professional hockey player, and he can't even figure it out.
Yeah.
Unclutch.
Speaking of, this is a clutch one that I got here. Speaking of kids, Canes defenseman Sean Walker had a pretty crazy 36 hours. So found out 1 a.m. Friday morning that his wife's water broke. Took a 6 a.m. flight home. Made it in time to see the birth of his first child, a daughter. Took the owner's private jet back to Philadelphia, arrived at 2 p.m., finished the sweep against, helped the Canes finish the sweep at 6 p.m. That's a lot in 36 hours.
Yeah, that's a whirlwind.
Yeah, like as Luke said, like I'm expecting my first here in about 3-ish weeks. So
could you imagine
when I disappear in 2 weeks, SportsCage listeners? That's why.
Yeah. We didn't fire him. We didn't fire him.
I will be back.
There was no cuts.
But still, I'm like, we're trying to figure things out right now. It's like, oh yeah, we got to get X, Y, and Z. Got to get the hospital bag ready and stuff like that. Oh, but I also got to throw it on a plane now. Got to be there in 12 hours. Yada. No.
Unfortunately, Colson, you do not have the luxury of being able to hop on a private jet.
Yeah.
To fly across the country.
The Harvard Media private jet won't get me.
Is there some? Did we have a SportsCage jet and I didn't even know about it?
No, it's Harvard Media, not SportsCage.
Oh.
I think SportsCage is on one of the engines or something, but.
No, we're on a car door somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a wild 36 hours.
Yeah, not one that I am envious of because that sounds absolutely brutal.
I mean, hey, emotions riding high from all of that, but still.
And at that point, wouldn't you just be running on pure adrenaline?
Oh, yeah. Adrenaline and coffee grounds. Nothing else left in the tank.
No, maybe some smelling salts.
Well, that too.
Those are still legal, right? I think.
Something like that.
I think. Okay, well, do you have any more?
That's all I had for clutch.
Okay. I think that's all I had right now. I had a couple others, but you know what? We're probably going to cover it a little bit later when we talk about NHL. We'll save it for that. In the meantime, why don't we take a break? We'll be back in a little bit. That was your Clutch Performer, brought to you by Keln Solar. They can help you with your livestock operations. Book now. Get your solar quotes for your home, farm, or cabin. Save money with the local company, Keln Solar in Lumsden. Still to come, we'll check back in with Dave Thomas Luc Mullinder from the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. They're going to be up there for the entire duration of training camp and delivering us all the latest information and news. We're also going to be hearing from kicker Marshall Hughes, Marcus Sales, Joshua Bell, as we inch closer and closer to that pregame show that's going to be happening a week from today. We're still going to check in with Crofty at some point here as well. Your sprinkle of the day after 5 o'clock, and Darian Durant will be joining us as well. Take a quick break. Be back soon. It's a Sports Cage, home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Appreciate you taking the time on this Monday. I'm Teagan Witko, joined by Colson Schultz, keeping us on the air. 620 CKRM on the stream as well, which you can find on our X account on YouTube, as well as sportscage.com. Join in the conversation at any point throughout the afternoon. The Prairieland Rentals text line is 306-936-6262. You know, you can deal directly with the owner, 600 Albert Street. They got you. Big or small, equipment, whatever you need. Deal with them. Prairieland Rentals. So there was a question that came up here on the text line, and we're going to get to that in a bit. I just want to bring on Dave Thomas, Luc Mullinder, for another training camp report brought to you by Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Come watch the game with friends. Daily specials, most screens in Saskatoon. So, Dave, first things first, we had a question come in. I'm going to see what you have to say about this. Okay, how has James Letcher Jr. looked? Dean wants to know.
That's a good question. You know what? He's looked fast. Like, I give it to him. He's taken a lot of reps, and when his speed burst gets going, it is sensational. They're running some kickoff drills today with him running a kickoff return left, and there's a couple that he broke, actually. So he's got a lot of speed, but they're also giving him a lot of reps. And I don't think this should be a surprise, but way more than what we ever saw with Mario Alford when it comes to the offense. He was running second and sometimes third team offensive reps at the receiver spot and didn't look out of place, got a couple of balls. So for me, I think he looks terrific, and his speed is something else.
I think that Mario Alford, unfortunately, so you can play offense and defensive lineman and quarterback if you're in the right system. For over a decade, right? Like you've got like guys like Patty Neufeld. There's guys all over the league that are like in their like 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th year, right? And the reason why you can do that, let's take O-line, is because at some point it's not about your strength anymore. It's about your IQ and your technique, right? And you can rely on that because you're going to slow down. Right? Like you're going, there's like physically you just can't, but because of the O-line position and because of how smart you can play the position and technique wise, you can be sound. Look at Gene Mikowski, for instance. Yeah. You can play forever. Unfortunately for Mario Alford, a returner always has to be fast and have speed burst. Like you can't get away playing returner just having a high IQ and being consistent at catching the football. You have to be able to break a game open with speed and speed burst. And I think that that's what you're talking about is Letcher. He does look fast. He does look like he has a great speed burst. Have we seen him live? No, right? Do you see him running offensive reps? Yeah, but every returner has to have the coordinator has to have an idea of where they can use him in a tough situation. But I think that that's what the team was missing. Despite Mario Alford being an amazing teammate, one of your locker room leaders, you just can't play the returner position without speed burst and speed. And I think that that's the difference between Letcher, who's significantly younger, and then Mario Alford. The thing that Mario Alford didn't do, for instance, is he didn't give you a turnover, right? Like he was reliable. No, right. You know what I mean? Like all of those things. But like as an offensive lineman, you're able to play because you can use technique and you're just smarter than some of these young, strong, fast guys, right? Same on the defensive line, right? Look at Willie Jefferson. He's still knocking balls down because he just understands what scheme he's in. Things like that. You just can't, unfortunately, you can't. There's a prerequisite for being a returner that includes having speed and speed burst. So that's what Letcher's got.
We should talk a little bit about the kicking situation that you guys have noted at training camp thus far. What are you seeing at Griffith Stadium?
Well, they're doing a lot of work before anybody gets there and after people leave. As far as the kicking game goes, I guess the last day of rookie camp I thought was really sensational when you had both kickers given an opportunity to have a kickoff, but basically the offense picked one guy and the defense picked another guy, and then Coach Mace even tried to ice the kickers in between. But Michael Hughes is kind of the incumbent, right? He played a game last year. He understands the system. He understands the Canadian game. Again, he's performed well. Jonathan Kim's got a heck of a leg too. I don't know. I've always thought I could do kicking because I played soccer as a kid, but I cannot do kicking just but one of the drills they had was where they were stationary. So if you can imagine it, the football and your left foot, they're both right-footed kickers. Your left foot is right beside the football in a stationary position, and you just swing your leg and kick the ball. They're 35 yards out. They're kicking it from a stationary position through the uprights, through the back of the end zone. So there's obviously some talent here.
Yeah, and I think that I know that there was a little bit of rumblings in Rider Nation. Hey, do you look at Lewis Ward, who got released in Ottawa?
Yes.
And I think the answer, and the reason the answer is no. I think they like what Hughes and Kim bring, but Hughes and Kim can also do kickoff. And I think that's kind of where we are in the Canadian Football League. If your place kicker and your field goal kicker, he's got to be able to do a couple more things. And I think that both these guys are able to do kickoff. Again, I thought Michael Hughes was good when we saw him last year, and obviously he's got a leg up just because of his experience. And he was a member of the Grey Cup championship team. He's got to be consistent. It's just the same sort of question around Jack Cohn, right? Is like, we know you can be good, but can you be consistent? Because that is what separates the greats from the average players, is consistency.
The one thing that stood out, I'm not piling on Lewis Ward by any means. His statistics speak for themselves.
He's only 5 foot tall.
But when we were in Ottawa, that is exactly what you said, was that look at the trajectory of the kicks. That's why so many are getting blocked.
Yeah.
And it's because he's a smaller kicker, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think the kicking game, the one thing, and I'm glad Teagan brought it up. I think that, and we said it on the first video we did, like, we've been spoiled. Rider Nation has had Jordan Hughes for the last 10 seasons, a decade. Never been a bad snap. That snapping competition between Aaron Crawford and Reed Hughes is also going to be something that needs to be determined. And again, that is an entirely new era of a unit for the Saskatchewan Roughriders for the first time in a while. I was blessed. I got Josh Fournette, who was he wouldn't shut up, but at the same time, he was a really good long snapper. He was accurate. Marty Bedard over in Montreal, I got to spend a season with him. He was great too. If you get a solid long snapper, you can play for over a decade because the coaches don't want to worry about you. This is something we need to keep an eye on.
Well, it's like what Darian said to us a couple of weeks back, right? You never hear the long snapper's name unless they're doing something wrong. It's one of those underappreciated positions, I think. And same goes for kicking, right? Place kickers are like that too. Dave, you had a conversation with Michael Hughes, so why don't we take a little listen to that and hear what he has to say heading into, I guess, what tomorrow will be day 3 of main camp.
Michael Hughes, welcome back to Riderville. How has the offseason been, being a Grey Cup champion and now getting set for this opportunity this year?
Well, thank you for the welcome back. It's been great the last few 2 weeks to get back, see the guys, a little bit of familiarity, familiar faces, so that's always a blessing. But I'm just excited to be back, start training camp for my first time in professional career. It's good.
You have been battling, it seems like, since high school to go ahead and prove that you belong at the next level, whether that be college or now the professional ranks. Has anything changed over that time?
I think wisdom and maturity. You grow as the years go on. Like you said, this isn't anything new to me. But you just have to stack your days and do every day the best that you can.
How did you tackle the offseason, and especially with the release of Brett Lawther, knowing the opportunity that was in front of you?
I treat it just like every other one. You treat all of them the same. You work hard, you take care of your body, take care of your mental off the field as well. You can't be good on the field if you're bad off the field, and vice versa. Try to find balance in every part of your life and just enjoy every day to the fullest.
As I watch in the stands, I can see when you make a kick, I'm like, okay, there you go. He's flying. He's got the distance. He's got the accuracy. That's good. What else are you being judged on? What else do you have to show to earn a roster spot with the Riders?
Well, it's camaraderie. It's everything. Not just on the field stuff, but how you treat other people, how you are in the locker room. When you miss, how do you react? Are you calm, cool, collected? You let it go? You short-term memory like a goldfish? All those things are factors. But like I said, you just be yourself. I just come in every day, be myself, and, I can live with that.
What were you able to learn last year that you brought into this year?
Well, Brett taught me a lot. I couldn't be more thankful for him. He taught me really how to be a pro. You sit behind a guy like that who's been around the block for a while. He's got a lot of good little pieces that you just keep with you as you move along. So I'm very appreciative of Brett for that. But also being up here in a completely different country, you have to find familiarity in places that aren't familiar and find a way to be comfortable. But you also have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that was one of the things that I prided myself on this offseason, was trying to find that uncomfortability and put myself in those positions every day.
First time in Saskatoon, you have to adapt to wind in a new stadium. How has that gone?
Well, in the stadium back home in Regina, you got it pretty much going one way, and it's pretty consistent up here. We've had a few days that have flipped, but the difference between up here and the States is, up here it's pretty constant. Where I'm from in the Appalachian Mountains, you have mountains that break up the wind patterns. One kick it'll be blowing, the next kick it'll die. So up here it's pretty constant. So I wouldn't say it's easier, but you understand it a little bit better.
Well, it's looked good so far in the field. Congratulations on returning to Riderville, and we wish you all the best as camp goes along.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you.
Dave Thomas with Michael Hughes, kicker up in training camp. Okay, we come back, and these two are just killing themselves laughing.
Watch out for Bear Grylls. I'm from the Appalachian Mountains. Relax. That
From
was
the mountains
funny.
to Saskatchewan, yeah. So kicker Michael Hughes,
Now every time I think of Michael Hughes, I'm gonna picture a guy like really in the mountains, like wood cabin, right?
Probably wearing Old Spice.
Yeah. Flannel shirt, and he doesn't change.
Yeah.
One of those stupid hats with the ear flops.
Hey, they're not stupid. They're warm, Luke.
Oh, my bad, Teagan. My bad.
Yeah. Come on. Fashion police over here. Okay.
Trouble with Teagan. That ain't screwing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We have work to do here, gentlemen. You've been up in Saskatoon. You've been doing a lot. You've been keeping very busy. And one of the other individuals that you spoke with earlier, Marcus Sayles, who quickly became a bit of a fan favorite here in Saskatchewan.
Marcus Sayles, how has it gone so far?
It's been really good. It feels good to be back on the field. We got all, pretty much most of the vets back and whatnot. So we're pretty much just building on top of what we had last year. And, we're just excited to be able to just, keep the momentum going.
You got to the ultimate goal of a Grey Cup championship last year. Is that way back in the rearview mirror now?
Yeah, pretty much. It's last year. It's last year's talk. We have a new goal, and that's the 2026 Grey Cup. And, right now we're just pretty much building the foundation. That's what camp's for. So, we got a couple more weeks to, to build on top of that and, get the young guys bought up and, even build on top of what we had last year. So I'm excited to just keep rolling and see where we can be at in the future.
So that's my question. Do you pick up right where you left off, or do you have to go back a couple of steps to make sure that you can go maybe elevate higher than where you were last year?
Yeah, there's not really a setback. Pretty much even like the young guys, they're pretty much caught up on pretty much where we're at right now, and we're just going to keep building on top. We don't have time to really take a step back. We got all of our coaches back, and we're here pretty much looking for the same goal.
Josh Bell is the new defensive coordinator of this team. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm happy for him. He's going to bring a little bit of different type of spice to this game. Yeah, he has great communication with everybody. He has a great, vibe, a great just energy that he brings to the team, and he's going to definitely, show what he can do this year.
he has a lot of respect for the athletes. It seems like it's reciprocal. What about him has earned that respect?
Yeah, I mean, for him just being the type of guy that he is, he speaks so much life into everybody. He speaks so much positivity, and even when we're on the field, he shows so much energy, and it just bounces off every single body. So I'm excited to be able to play for him, and hopefully we can do the same thing like we did last year.
Seems a touch different, but we're 7 days away from the first preseason game and 13 days away from the preseason being over. How do you get yourself prepared for the season ahead?
Yeah, I mean, right now we just like what we're doing now. We just got to continue to build on what we got. We just got to stay in the playbook, keep our bodies healthy. That's the biggest thing. You want to be available when the time is ready, and hopefully keep showing what you can in the preseason games. You got to put your best tape on the tape so you can get evaluated, and going forward, you just put your best foot forward.
Marcus, appreciate your time.
Yes,
enjoy the camp.
Thank you so much.
Marcus Sales with Dave Thomas at training camp up in Saskatoon. Hey, we are streaming, and I'm not sure if Dave and Luc are aware, but even if we're listening to someone else speak, we can still see you. We know that you guys have been misbehaving. You're like the little class clowns at the back of the room. This is a work trip, gentlemen.
Hey, listen, I gotta be honest with you. When people mention great signings by Jeremy O'Day, Marcus Sales needs to be at the top of his.
Isn't that
list.
true? Yeah.
I think that Marcus Sales, since he's gotten on this team, has been one of their best players. He is a tough SOB. He is smart. He can play man. He can play. I love his game, man. And I'm just glad he's back and just a tough kid.
Yeah.
That guy played through so many injuries last year. It's good to see him healthy. And again, he's been making plays out here. The first 2 days, he's been all over the field.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Marcus Sales back at her up in Saskatoon Griffith Stadium as we head into the third day of training camp tomorrow.
I just don't think he can survive 48 hours in the outback like Michael Hughes, the Appalachian Mountains.
Luc is going to grill him on that tomorrow now. Ask if he has that stupid floppy hat.
I can't wait for the next card conversation.
My bad. I'm sorry to get you guys off of.
No, that's fantastic. No. Oh, come on. Please. Do you remember who you're talking to? We're fine.
Doing this for 10 years, man.
Yeah,
I know.
Luc Mullinder's 10th.
Well, you know what, too? And you know what? So speaking of that, by the way, you want to know what I have really noticed? And I don't want this to be an attack on any person.
This is scaring me.
Yeah,
I just don't understand. I don't understand vets that are hurt before camp starts. I don't do you get hurt in the off season and it carries over? I can recall I've been through a ton of training camps, and I don't remember as many vets being hurt and not just being able to start camp, right? Because there's a way you approach it. You've got your entire off-season workout, you build, but then you also sort of like maintain and trail off as camp gets closer. And I'm looking at guys that are hurt that this team needs, by the way.
Yes.
Right. That are important players. And I just don't understand. In my 10 years, it's one of the questions I have now. It's like, I don't recall, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was just ignoring those guys and happy that I wasn't one of the guys hurt. But I remember I got in 2006, me, Ken Keith, Nealon Green, a couple other dudes. We were rooming, and I got to Regina like a couple days before camp. Right, you get there before, and I went on a jog because I wanted to do some cardio, and I sprained my ankle on that jog. And dude, I can't tell you, I pulled out every single stop to have my ankle be like, you know what I mean? Iced it, put it on it all day for the next 2 days because I was so worried about being unable to do day one of camp. I felt like I would have gotten cut. So it's just, that's one of the things that's, I'm not sure if I'm noticing it just because I'm older now and I've been around the game, but I've got to figure out like what goes in, like what are guys doing that in training camp or off season to come into camp hurt? I don't get it. Unless it was like a pre-season, like an injury surgery that they knew was going to take long. Maybe that's it. I just don't get it.
Well, I did see you yelling at clouds today, so you have been a little bit better.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That tracks. Okay, well, boys, we got to take a break here. We'll get you back on the other side of 5 o'clock, though, because your pal, Darian Durant, is going to be joining us there, Luke. So you're going to have to stick around. Catch up with him. We'll have some fun.
Speaking of guys that were never injured during camp, there's a tough SOB right there.
Hell yeah. We'll be back after the 5 o'clock news. In the meantime, your ticker coming up, and we'll catch up with Crofty. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. The Flin Flon Bombers beat the Greater Sudbury Cubs this morning 6-4 at the Centennial Cup. The Bombers have a day off tomorrow before they take on the Bearcats to wrap up round-robin play. NHL playoffs, you got the Avs in Minnesota facing the Wild as Minnie looks to even up that series. Colorado up 2-1. Probably a change in net for Colorado as well. Yesterday, Macklin Celebrini, at the age of 19, was named captain of Team Canada for the World Hockey Championship. That's going to be kicking off this Friday. PWHL Game 5 of the Walter Cup playoffs between Minnesota and Montreal has been postponed due to player safety concerns around illness. So stand by for more on that. MLB, Toronto Blue Jays, Tampa Bay Rays getting ready for first pitch here at Rogers Place, and that will be the first of a 3-game set. That is a look at your sports ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey. And now I think we're ready to go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. As we do every Monday at this time, we welcome on Crofty. Crofty, it smells like spring in the air right now.
It is. I'm just sitting on a grid road right now, and this rain coming down. It's beautiful. I mean, I know our farm friends probably were out, hopefully get out, start seeding and stuff like that. But this will be good in the long run for them.
Is moisture ever a bad thing in Saskatchewan?
Well, I think it's a timing thing. I mean, it's never bad. You're right. It's never 100% bad. But, timing, could be better at times. But I think they'll take it right now. I know my place, it was really dusty on the weekend. So,
yeah, knock that dust down. And while you have an afternoon off, maybe now is a good time to reach out to Crofty at Croft Electric and start getting some stuff ready, some projects on the go for your farm or if it's your house. Do you want to talk about the Preferred Customer Program?
Yes, perfect. You actually stole my segue. That's awesome.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. You're sitting in your house or you're, looking outside at the rain. It's perfect time to be starting to think about summer, spring projects and do exactly that. Sign up for our Preferred Customer Program. That'll give you a free 24-point inspection where we can come out and get to know your electrical system, which then will give you, makes us more cost effective when we come out next time and makes you, gives you savings, as well as it does come with savings in that program with 10% off material and a preferred labor rate. So it really pays for itself.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm all about saving money. So do it right. Do it once with Croft Electric and our pal Crofty here. How do we get in touch with you, Crofty?
Well, follow us on all those socials. Check us out on the web at www.croftelectric.com. And then, of course, when you need us, give us a call at 306-586-1333.
And not to be discounted, their Tip Tuesday on their socials. Make sure that you follow for that alone. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for doing this, Crofty. I appreciate it.
You bet. Have a great night.
You too. We'll talk to you next week. That was Croft, of course, on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. We are going to take a quick break. News is next. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Well, thanks for being here. Monday edition of the Sports Cage. It's brought to you by Smoke'em Diesel. If you're a fix-it-yourself type of person, Smoke'em Diesel can supply you with injectors, injection pumps, turbos, all diesel hard parts. I'm Teagan Witko, your host, alongside Colson 1. Or Colson Schultz, as we like to call him. Yeah. He's keeping us on the air, 620 CKRM, and on the stream on our X account on sportscage.com, on YouTube. You can join in the conversation on the YouTube stream, or you can always text us. Don't be shy. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. We've been checking in with Dave and Luke from the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge all throughout the afternoon. Day 2 wrapped up at Maine Training Camp. So there's plenty to discuss, plenty to cover. But we are going to take a brief pause from that right now as we jump out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love with Darian Durant.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Dutch Agriculture. Precision in every pass and consistent depth and better yield. Visit DutchOpeners.com. On farm for you.
So I do have a slight concern This is either going to be gold, great radio, Darian, or this could be an absolutely terrible idea. Because we got Luke on with us, we got Dave on with us, and of course, Darian. Is it the second one?
It's the second one, yeah.
Always,
what up, man?
Always when we get together. Always. What's up, bro?
Nothing much, man.
Just
I can't believe you turned these guys loose in a sports bar. I'm confused about that.
I did see that. I think Luke has upgraded from water to something maybe a little stiffer.
Oh, dude, they got a good steak sandwich here, bro. That's where we're at. You'd like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Luke,
I can, however, vouch. I can vouch that there was salad accompanying said steak. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
just so I can vouch for that.
Yeah, your boy's on his fitness kick. You know,
Hey, life is all about balance, man. That's what it's all about. But we should talk a little bit of football because we can't have Darian on forever. So, training camp underway. We talked a lot about a few of the different position groups, but I wanted to ask you specifically about one guy, James Vaughters, because he has so many connections with a lot of the coaching staff, some of the players, and he signed day one free agency, and he just seems to be a really good fit. What's your take on James Vaughters in this lineup?
I think he'll be good for the Riders. I mean, he's a vet. He knows what's going on. He understands the league, the system. I mean, you know, and that's what you need. A lot of teams try to go the younger route, try to get into a situation where they can, ease their pocketbooks a little bit. But sometimes you have to have that great mixture. I think he brings that to the team. And, you need these type of voices in the locker room. I don't think I've said it enough. As far as our Grey Cup run is concerned, all the veterans that were a part of that team, right? So I think the more and more vets you can add, the better leadership in the locker room, guys with experience you can, bring on board. It's always helpful.
Hey man, I was waiting to ask you this today when I realized you were going to be on. I remember your first two practices. It was my first year really in the booth. I remember though your first two practices in 2014 after you guys came off 2013, and I remember, and I know it didn't end up the way we wanted it to, but I remember thinking, oh my God, these guys are going to absolutely run the table, because of the way that you guys approach practice, the way you specifically came out and led and executed during team drills and stuff. My question to you is what is the key when you're coming off a championship? We were young when we won our 2007 championship. You were a leader of the team in 2014. What is the key to getting back to a place where you can compete for another title? And what did you guys lean on?
I think it's just all about starting from scratch. You have to, of course, we all know the festivities, everything that comes along with celebrating the Grey Cup championship from the previous year, but you have to hit the reset button. You have to go to work. You have to treat this as if it's just everything new. Don't look at all your accolades from the previous year. Make sure you go out there each and every snap, not just practice, but each and every snap, and act as if you're still learning the offense. Act as if, you're still trying to help guys get in the little details. And I think that's the main way we approach 2014, especially losing Dress, right? When you lose someone with his production, his abilities, you're trying to get some new guys into the mix a little bit, just like the Riders are at the receiver position. It's all about fundamentals. It's all about starting from the beginning. So I think that, from what I'm hearing, that Trevor's really doing a great job at just as if, we're not the champions. This is another year, right? We have to start from scratch. We have to act as if, we're all learning this together, and we have to go out there snap by snap and make sure we execute in that fashion.
Can I address the elephant in the room?
That's not very nice. I know I'm a little bit bigger, but that's
these guys.
Body shaming is not something you're able to,
With your physique, you could survive 2 months in the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah. But anyways, that's last hour. But in all honesty, guys, we are 7 days away from the start of the preseason. And I know that you have to say the schedule's the schedule. We know the schedule, but you guys have both been players that have had to prove and earn your spots on rosters, but then you've also been veterans where you have to go ahead and make sure that you are ready to go for week one. I'll go to you guys and your expertise. How do you approach the preseason that starts in 7 days from now and ends in 13 days from now?
Well, I'll go first. I think my biggest thing was just doing all of the things off the field that I knew that people who were successful before me did. I remember watching Gene Mikowski when I first came into the league. It wasn't about how good he was on the field. It's that he was immediately in the ice tub after practice. It's that he walked over there after night meetings to go into the U of R ice tub. It's about how Eddie Davis, we were leaving and Eddie Davis would be in the film room by himself at like 9:30. And I think that right there, I understood like what champions did, and then I tried to figure out ways that, we could invest time in some of the young guys. Because one of the things that we got good at, especially in that run where we were going to those Grey Cups, is I think we were very good at understanding that the young guys were really important to the deal as well. And the more we could bring the young guys on, no matter what role you played as a vet, the better success we were going to have in the long run.
Yeah, I don't think he could say it any better. It's all about checking out the vets, seeing what they're doing, seeing their regimens. I mean, look, you only have a week of camp, so that's not a lot of time. But if you know you're going to be a starter, you're entrenched in your position, then it's all about just trying to learn small things, how to take care of your body. How can I be mentally sharp if I don't get as many reps this day? If the coaches are in a phase where they're trying to evaluate some of these younger guys and the vets may not have as many reps that day at practice, okay, how can I get these mental reps? How can I make sure that, if I have a little sore shoulder or something like that, then I can make sure it goes away pretty quickly. So it's all about doing the little things off of the field to make sure you're sharp and ready to go. We all know how fast training camp comes and goes, and there's nothing that a CFL training camp can really do to prepare you for football action, right? There's no full pads, there's no tackling, so you have to make sure you're mentally ready to go. And I think that's the way Coach Mace will definitely approach this, especially with the vets, because I mean, look, he's been in the situation on both sides, right, as a player and as a coach. So no one understands better than him and how to get his guys ready.
Joshua Bell was talking to Dave earlier today, and he really laid in on one word specifically, and it was accountability. He's stepping into a different role now as the defensive coordinator. So when Coach Bell talks about culture this early on in camp, who do you think that's directed to?
I mean, I don't think it's one person. I think culture is a collective group of people, and it's a collective effort. And I think that something that he and Coach Mason may have let go last year was guys having excuses, too many my bads out there, too many mistakes that will cost you crucial games. So, that theme of accountability, that directly says that they let a little bit too much go last year. Too many guys came in film sessions and pointed at themselves and said, my bad, it won't happen next time. And I think what he's saying is, look, there may not be a next time. We're the guys that are going to be hunted this year. So there's no room for these mistakes and the things that could have cost us games last year. We have to be able to address them now, and you have to be accountable for those things immediately.
What type of, again, I'm going to go back to 2014 doubles, because I was really certain that was a repeat year, because of the way you guys started off. You were the natural leader of the team. But who did you, as that leader, put yourself in Trevor Harris's shoes. Who does he need to also be that guy? I was telling Dave and Rider Nation today, I think the top two guys have been Jameer Thurman and Trevor Harris in camp so far. Yeah. But from your standpoint, who do you need? And what are those conversations? Are they direct conversations with them in the locker room? Hey, I need you to be vocal today in practice. Or is it just people understand?
No, I was going to say Jameer Thurman or either Roland Milligan. I think that what's really going to be the difference this year is Trevor really giving those guys the mentality of, look, we can't have any dumb penalties. We can't have the unsportsmanlike conducts. We can't have the 15-yarders, the after whistle penalties, things like that. So I think more than anything, mentally, he has to get these guys together and remind these guys that, look, man, these are the things that are going to get us beat. Look, we're going to score points. Our offense is good. We have pretty much our entire foundation together, and you guys are going to be good too. But the thing that's going to separate us is the dumb mistakes, like Josh Bell said, the accountability. So I think that he needs to go into these not necessarily players-only meetings, but when the captains can get around each other, just make sure he's whispering in his ear a little bit, or those guys, all right, now let's focus on no penalties today. Let's see if we can play without grabbing jerseys or different things like that, because penalties, and you go back to 2014, we started off the year so good because we were the least penalized team. So I think that if they can really, really think about the penalties and how they can cost you games, then, they'll put themselves right back in a great position to possibly repeat.
Can you tell me the mindset of Jack Cohn, Darian? He comes into camp. It's the first time in his professional career that he has got the second most experience on the team in the quarterback room. Obviously, the job is there for him to take. He said, and just to paraphrase him, you know what, I'm approaching this as I'm going to come in and compete for the starting job too. Is that really what's going on with Jack Cohn, and how important is this camp for him?
Well, you have to tell that for sure. I mean, you're there to compete regardless. We're all teammates at the end of the day, but everyone, it's pretty much every man for himself, especially at camp. So he's there to compete, and he has to have that mentality, one, because he's one play away. I mean, you just never know what could happen. Anything could happen in training camp. I'm knocking on wood and hoping that everything, works out well for Trevor, but you just never know. So he has to have that mentality. He has to approach every day as if he's the starter. And more importantly, he just has to soak up all the knowledge he can from Trevor, from the meeting rooms to how Trevor takes care of his body, to pre-practice routines, different things like that. I mean, look, Trevor, I think he said he's going into year 17, which is crazy. And, especially his fitness level right now. So I think just learn as much as you can, soak it all up. And then when you're out there at practice, he has to compete. Even if he's not competing with Trevor on paper, he's competing with the guys behind him. They're always looking for new talent to bring in. With NFL cuts pretty much coming up here soon, there may be a big-time name that may be coming up, and you just have to be mentally prepared for all that stuff. So more than anything, go in with the mindset that you're one play away, and, your time could be called at any given moment, and you just have to be ready.
What do those internal conversations sound like, Doubles? Like, what is, you talked about Trevor, hey, yeah, I need to get to the captains and talk about the attention to detail, right? And working on the little things. We need to have a penalty-free 7-on-7. We need to have a penalty-free inside runs. But like internally, when you're in those moments, right as you're about to walk out the door, go get breakfast or whatever, is there a checklist that a starting quarterback goes through in his mind? The same way a coach will have a checklist right before they go out on the field.
Absolutely. I think the previous night's film session is or the previous day, because, there are a lot of practices boggled into one film, right? So you just write down a list. What do I need to work on today? Who did I miss on certain reads? How can I attack? It may be a blitz period, or maybe, a too deep zone period where you have to go through your reads, maybe a check down period. So as you're going into these practices, you're definitely thinking about what happened the day before. And, believe it or not, the offense competes against the defense every single day. And, you want to win the day, right? So it's all about winning the day first and foremost, but you want to do it within, the confines of the team, the structure of the team, everything that the system allows you to do. You want to be able to do it within the system. So, of course, you have to have that checklist. You have to make sure you're working on something that you really, really need to work on. And especially for Trevor, right? I mean, he's not going to get a ton of reps, but he's going to get just enough to where Coach Mace feels like he's ready. So he definitely has to have these certain things or certain ways that he wants to attack each and every day.
For a young player coming in to training camp, if you're a rookie and then you're going into your first ever preseason game, how much of a mental battle is that?
It could be tough. I think it's all about the type of pressure you put on yourself, right? If you can make sure you're mentally good as far as the plays are concerned, coaches are definitely going to dumb down the playbook a little bit to allow the guys to go out there and play freely as possible. So if you can get your assignments down, your alignment, everything like that, then you should be able to take the pressure off yourself. I think the guys who go out there with the most pressure or who are nervous are the ones who aren't prepared. So, for the rookies, if you make sure you study, you go into your playbook the night before meetings, coach is going to tell you what he's going to call. He's going to give you the second and short sheet. He's going to give you second and long. Every single situation you're going to be in, the coaches are going to put you on a script. They're going to put it on a sheet of paper for you to go down and make sure you know each and everything. So take the pressure off yourself by knowing what to do, and then you can just do what got you to this point.
And the best teams are always veteran-led. And I think that to establish yourself as a contender in a championship, there's going to be vets in the room that understand, like, hey, the direct success of our team is going to be carried, again, by these young guys. So I remember being a vet in situations and actively searching out young guys to do the chair drill, for instance, right? We'd have the whole call sheet going in. We know plays, but, then we would set up chairs up as offensive linemen, right? You turn one of them backwards because that's the center, and as vets you go in and you go through the whole script with your potentially new teammates. And I think that championship teams understand that they have a ton of vets that are really active in the early stages of camp, just helping the young guys, because as Etch used to say, remember Doubles, he used to say you learn best by teaching, right? And I think that we really embraced a lot of that as teams that wanted to get back to Grey Cups.
When it comes to reps in preseason. Sorry, go ahead, Darren.
No, I was just going to add on to what Luke was saying with, look, when you're a young guy, you think you're invincible, right? You don't see injuries coming. You don't see any of that stuff. But as you mature into the league, you know that at some point you're going to get nicked up and these young guys are going to have to play. So you need to get them, as ready as possible. And it starts during camp with the vets.
So my follow-up question was going to be, as a veteran, then who dictates? What's the conversation like? How do you determine the number of reps you're going to take in the preseason, whether it's game 1, game 2? Do you have that conversation with a coach? Is it directly the coach that decides that because you want to be at your best?
My experience, and it might be different for offensive guys, but we always got told, our position groups would always tell us, okay, like you 4 guys, you got the first quarter, right? And you're not going past the first quarter. So if we only have one defensive series in the first quarter, guess what? You only have one defensive series, right? You guys, this group, you're playing in the second half, and then you go down from there. But again, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, right, Dave? It's not about whether you get 50 reps or 1 rep. It's what you do with whatever you get, right? And that's what matters. You know what I mean? Like, so if we're talking like Shager or Cone, like, man, if you only get three reps, right, in the fourth quarter, what did those 3 reps look like? Did it look like a guy that wanted to start, or what did it look like a guy who was pouting because he didn't get the first reps in the first and second quarters, right?
Yeah, and it could go the complete opposite, right? Coach could tell you that you're going to get the entire first quarter as an offense, and if you go out there and you drive the ball down the field, have a nice 6-play drive, and you score a touchdown, then they'll take you right off the field and say, look, I know our plans were to get you a quarter, but you guys look sharp. You know what you're doing. You look like you're ready to go, and we're going to pull you a little bit early. So it really just depends. But going in, most guys know exactly, what they're going to, what type of playing time they're going to get, just so there are no surprises. And you want the young guys to get in there too. I think the preseason is more so for them. Of course, the vets need those early reps, but you want to see what your young guys can do, because that's how you build a championship team. It's through the depth of your squad, right? I mean, a lot of teams have veteran talent, but the deeper teams, the ones who can field these younger guys in the latter part of the season and not miss a beat, those are the teams you see pretty much contending for a championship at the end.
Well, I think we have taken up far too much of Darian's time, so we should probably let you go.
I love it.
Oh, he doesn't have anything else to do. Don't let him act. Don't let him act like he's got stuff to do. He's got nothing to do.
See, this is what we've been waiting on, right? We've been waiting for training camp to start. Now it's football time. Now I'm just ready to talk all night. So yeah, I don't.
Oh man, hey, Doubles, I'll tell you what, though, it's definitely changed, man. I was going back and forth with Schulte today, and before the first team drill, I think the team stretched like 3 times. Like, practice pace has changed, brother. Yeah, I don't, man. Yeah, I feel like me and you could get through a warm-up.
They're making a lot of money now.
Yeah, exactly. They're making way more money. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, your highest paid defensive lineman isn't getting free pizza and $20 a game anymore, you know?
Right.
Hey, there was also Toonie Tuesday, I was told.
Yeah, that was off the
they
hook.
brought it back. Nice.
Doubles
Well,
remembers
not these
Toonie
days.
Tuesday.
Yeah, back in the
Doubles
day.
remembers Toonie Tuesday. That was awesome.
Look forward to it. The cheapest meal of the week, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Grease all through the uniform. Gordy would have to do an extra load of laundry just how greasy the uniforms were after that.
Oh, poor guy. Well, thank you very much, Darian. We appreciate this as always and look forward to talking more Riders next week. Or no, I guess not next week. Not with me anyway. We have a game on Monday. Riders are going to be in
don't let Doubles off the hook now. Don't let Doubles off the hook.
You know, we'll talk.
Still a work day. Still a work day. I can't wait to see some live action. That's what I've been waiting on.
Let's go. All right. Thanks so much, Darian. Appreciate the time.
All right, bro. I'll get with you.
That, of course, was Doubles, brought to you by Dutch Agriculture. That went surprisingly well. I was expecting those gentlemen to go completely off the rails, but no, that went really well. That was a lot of fun. Of course, Darian joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. So you know what? We are going to take a quick break, and we will be back because we still have your sprinkle of the day to come. We got your sports ticker, and maybe we'll look at some Conn Smythe Trophy futures. I feel like that could be some fun. Okay. Take a break. It's a Sports Cage on the home of Rider Nation, 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. It's a Sports Cage, 620 CKRM streaming on our YouTube channel, X, sportscage.com as well. Okay, you can join in the conversation at any point on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. They got you from small tools to big tools. Go talk with them. They can hook you up. 306-936-6262 if you want to chime in at any point. So I do believe we're going to go back out to the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge if Dave and Luke are still hanging around. So we can, go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, say hello. Dave, I wanted to talk a little bit of hockey. We've been pretty heavy on the football today.
Okay, let's do it.
First and foremost, I wanted to get your pick. Who do you think right now has the best odds to win the Conn Smythe?
Oh, wow.
That's a tough one right now, isn't it?
I'd say Nathan McKinnon or Cale Makar.
Okay. Nathan McKinnon, best odds, 275. Frederick Anderson, second best odds, 475. And then Makar comes in plus 1,000. You want to guess who's after that? Take a stab in the dark. You think about it, and I'm going to tell you, okay, the first goaltender that's on here, maybe you can take a stab at that. Think about a game this weekend where the crowd fell in love with the goaltender.
I thought I was going to say Dobish, but that wouldn't be it.
Yeah, best odds now. Yeah. As of the last update, the best Conn Smythe odds for a goaltender, Jakub Dobish.
He'd also have the best odds, I think, of losing his marbles and dropping his mitts. But he is sensational, though, right? Like the way he was run, that was insane.
Are we all cheering for the Habs now? Unless you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, is all of Canada now backing the Habs? It kind of feels that way.
I think everyone who isn't a Leafs fan doesn't cheer for them, so they're probably backing the Habs.
Yeah. So I guess Leafs fans go Buffalo, and then everyone else is Habs?
Well, no, seriously, looking around here at the Red Zone Sports Bar, like there's a ton of Habs fans, and they don't even play tonight. So there you go.
I mean, there's a Canadian team still in it, so I think for a lot of people, all aboard the bandwagon, right? It was also pretty cool to watch the game. Alex Newhook, his parents in the stands after he got that empty netter, and then Dobish comes out of the net and he's celebrating, and because that had to have been quite an emotional weekend for Alex's parents, right? Because his sister, Abby Newhook, she was knocked out with the Fleet, knocked out of the playoffs, right? So that was just such a roller coaster of emotion. That was a double overtime finish in that game in the PWHL. So those parents, I mean, you're a hockey dad. You can probably relate to that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, you feel for the heartbreak of one child, right? And then the absolute elation on the other side. I'm really curious to see if Buffalo has got a counterpunch, though. Like, I don't know if they do, but boy, it's been a terrific series. I think you were alluding to this one going long, and there's every indication that it could, but that was a gigantic win for Montreal at home, and Game 4 is also in their building, so look out, Buffalo.
Yeah, it's definitely a home ice advantage at this point. Okay, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I feel like I kind of have to now because I was going after Toronto Maple Leafs fans, and we just might as well keep it going. Marner. He showed up this weekend.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming. I mean, he's leading the league in points in the postseason.
Yeah, you know what, and isn't that, Teagan, I'll get your opinion, but isn't that like the epitome of, sometimes you just need a change of scenery? And, for the Leafs, they really didn't get anything for him because, again, they probably, in hindsight, should have done something the summer before he left in free agency. I understand there was a trade. Yes, I get it. But, it was nowhere near what they could have garnered if they had gone ahead and made a decision earlier. But to me, you look at it, and, again, I respect your opinion. I just think new surroundings have absolutely made the most for him.
Now, the only concern is the fact that Stone is injured, at least in terms of Vegas, right? So how deep are they going to go now without him, or if he's even going to be out for that lengthy period of time? But he's definitely shown that he might not have been the whole problem in Toronto.
No, absolutely. And right, that is such a tricky spot to be in. And the one thing that I think that unfortunately Toronto has tried so hard to move away from, with Ontario hockey players saying that come home, come play, but then you see the intense scrutiny you're under at home that you just can't leave. And when that burden gets lifted, how many players have gone ahead and succeeded elsewhere?
But you're right, sometimes maybe it is just a change of scenery. That's all that you need.
Yeah.
So maybe we should actually do the sprinkle of the day, because I know I alluded to it, and I think Colson was ready for us to do it, and then we just kind of went off on a tangent. So do we want to take a look at some odds here? SportsSelect.com, by the way, if you don't know how this whole thing works, you can just simply go to SportsSelect.com. You can fill out your picks, and then it'll generate a QR code. You go to your local lotto spot retailer, you take it in, and boom, every bet is 100% legal. Chances of winning cash in hand. When you're ready to play, bet on the original, sportsselect.com. So what are we thinking here? What are we feeling like? I know we talked about the odds for Conn Smythe Trophy winners right now, but it feels too early for that. So what do we want to look at here for hockey this week?
Sure.
Okay, we were just talking about it. So why don't we take a peek at that Sabres-Habs game? Over under 6. Pro line 2 3/4 for Buffalo. Montreal 2. Tie. Ooh. Think it's going to go to OT?
I don't know. Again, if you go back and you watch the stream from last week, you'll have a lot of video evidence there to support the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about because I am so wrong. I didn't think that this series I didn't think that there would be a lot of high scoring games. I thought it was going to be very close, very tight to the vest. And it just baffles me, the offense that's coming from these two teams and how they seem to forget to play defense occasionally.
Well, but that's what makes it entertaining, Dave.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that I have no idea. I totally thought after the way that Montreal played against Tampa Bay, I'm like, okay, they know how to play defense because defense wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in game one. It got thrown out the window. And again, okay, maybe they were tired or whatever else. But like last night, like again, Buffalo there. And again, we were just talking with Darian Durant and Luc Mullinder about discipline. Buffalo's discipline absolutely killed them last night. And the fact that they couldn't stay out of the box and then keep the puck out of the net when they were shorthanded. So I'm the exact wrong person to add. I really still think this is going to be an under series, but that's just me. Write it down, mark it, Colson, and again, prove that Dave is wrong.
He's on it. Colson one's got it. Okay. We are going to go, I'm going to take over and a tie. Because I think it's going to go.
And a tie.
Yeah, I think it's going to go to overtime. And I think it's going to be high scoring because I think Buffalo is going to come in and they're going to be peed off. They're not going to be happy. They're going to want to come out guns a-blazing. But that barn, that Bell Center, is a very difficult place to play. So, yeah, I would sprinkle a little bit on the over, and I would probably go for a tie on that one as well. I think this one's going 7.
I don't dispute that at all. I think you're bang on, but like I say, it just seems so off the charts how Montreal has opened it up with their offense last night. And I know that Sabres fans, thanks, the one Sabres fan that I know, Richard, just texted me and they're going to come back. I understand that, Richard. I appreciate your thought. But again, obviously, if you're a Sabres fan, you've got more to answer to than that. But I just can't understand this series because if Dobish, again, looks like he's going to stay on his game, he can win a game for the team. Look at Game 7 against Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he can steal one for sure. All right. Well, we both we can agree to disagree. That was a look at your sprinkle of the day with Sports Select. Check it out for yourself. And speaking of tickets, because you can, go fill out the old-fashioned ticket at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Sask Lotteries, they have their Rider Nation Scratch and Win ticket. They go on sale starting tomorrow. Chance to win $75,000 and over $200K in Rough Rider prizes. We were talking about it earlier. There's a chance for you to win tickets for the 2027 home opener and Labor Day Classic in a premium suite or 10 years. That is a decade of season tickets for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Proceeds go to more than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation organizations through Sask Lotteries. You can, get your ticket at any local Lotto Spot retailer. Again, starting tomorrow. So when you're placing your sprinkle, spend the $7 and grab one of those as well. Barney's going to be giving some away on the cage throughout the rest of the week, too. Now,
awesome. By the way,
Dave,
speaking of tickets, can I just go off on a tangent for a quick second? I know that you were talking with Dante to Caria about the tickets and the Prince Albert Raiders hosting games 3, 4, and 5 of the Western Hockey League final against Everett. How cool is it that they go old school? So for an hour, if you show up at the rink, you can buy the tickets in person for the game before they go on sale over the internet to the general public. Like old school, right? You used to line up for concert tickets and stuff like that. Like those were the days. That's where you met people. That's where you would have all kinds of, mostly legal fun in line. But I'm just saying, I think it's really, really cool that they do that. And again, just an old style take. I don't know if anybody else maybe thinks it's as neat as I do, but I think it's something else.
Hey, you know what? I'm still of the demographic that kind of wishes we had physical concert tickets. Something tangible, something you can keep. So I agree. I think that's kind of a nice little touch that they have at the Art Hauser Center up in Prince Albert.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry.
3 more games at home, so it's going to be a fun barn to be in. That's for sure. Okay, so quickly here, because I know we're running low on time, Dave, I would like to talk just a little bit more about one more thing that you and I were discussing earlier with Luc Mullinder when it came to the training camp up in Saskatoon, Griffith Stadium. You guys are at Red Zone Sports Bar right now behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. You can watch games with friends, daily specials, most screens in Saskatoon. Joshua Bell, his name has come up a number of times in discussion here today, and Dave had an opportunity to, sit down and have a conversation with the man, and I imagine you learned a thing or two.
I learned a lot of different things, a very philosophical conversation. Josh Bell it's amazing how he connects with people, and you'll hear it in the conversation. All right. Coach Joshua Bell, the defensive coordinator of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, congratulations on the opportunity. Well earned and well deserved. What does that title mean to you?
Public accountability. That's about it.
That's a very deep way to look at accountability, because obviously the athletes are asked for it, the coaches are asked for it. Does that add pressure or change anything about the coach that you are and what you hope to do with these athletes?
No, not really. I've been defensive coordinating the past 2 seasons in my mind. Now I get to have a Madden controller. I get to have a Madden controller. But it's really just a public accountability. Now, if something goes wrong, all right. But what we do a brain trust. I'm nothing as a defensive coordinator. Coach Travis Brown gonna call some plays. Coach Michael Johnson gonna call some plays. Coach Jay Lynn gonna call some plays when we in that headset on game day. Man, it's a brain trust. We all trying to remember everything that we thought about during the week, and sometimes I don't remember certain things. Sometimes, Trav be like, hey, don't forget about this, and boom, all right, bet, well, let's get it. This is the only way that I know how things have been. It's always a group of doing things. It's just the trigger man that's gonna push it. But other than that, it's just the fact that you got to do too much talking. I got to talk too much now. I got to talk in front of the room every so often. And sometimes I'd rather just let the guys run the clicker in the DB room. When I'm the DB coach, I just let them run the clicker. They did most of the talking. I just chimed in every now and then. But that's really about it. It's just, I think it's just that public scrutiny that you have to look at. And if that's something, I mean, that's just fun to me. Like most people that feel pressure, I think it's just a little adrenaline rush. It's like, riding a roller coaster. You get to do it again.
Can you tell me about your athletes and the respect that you have built that goes both ways? Because that was one of the things that Coach Mace pointed out, is the respect that there is within the defense, from coach to coach, from player to coach, to player to player. How big is that?
That's everything. That being linked, a lot of men exalt themselves when they get a title. A lot of coaches, especially coaches that used to play, they become different when they get a title. So we're all linked, masters to servants and peasants to kings. So that level of respect for what everyone contributes on every single day, and the respect for a man's work, that's the number one thing. Respect a man as who he is, respect him as he stands, if he can be honest about who he is, give him enough grace to be who he is, whether you understand it or not. But that respect level earns, and it gets you a lot of love in the end. And a lot of us who've won Grey Cups in this league, we understand that it's not really the X's and O's ever, it's the Jims and the Joes. And if coaches can always sit in that fact and understand that, man, it's a relationship, we're all linked together, regardless of our titles. We all have a role to play. And if one person doesn't do their role, if we're not accountable in our role and who we are and how we are, if we're not trying to be better, then we can't exist at a great level.
What is it going to take to perform at a great level for the defense of the Saskatchewan Roughriders this season?
You must set a goal higher. You can't be afraid of setting a goal for greatness and to have the attempt to dominate every single opponent on 60 plays a game.
That's fantastic. And when you look at the group that you have, you must have the utmost confidence in the athleticism that they've shown in just a couple of days out here.
A lot of toys to play with now. It's a lot of, man, these guys are amazing, man. The guys, the old vets that are back and returning guys, they've come in better. They've worked their butts off in the offseason. The guys that the executive branch have looked at and brought in as new pieces in, they've come in and been exactly what we've expected them to be. So when you get all that together, man, these guys are amazing. Come on, Marcus Sells coming in the first day and being everywhere. You hear me? Teleporting from here to there, getting the ball, playing the game within the game. He was ready to play a game day one. Having rollback, come on, that's a security blanket, baby. That's like my Linus blanket. James Vaughters, a guy that I was a teammate of, that how he is as a man, who he is. Mike Rose coming in, his traps look big, Therm, come on, dog. I could just keep going. Nelly coming in with that nitro button. You know, those guys, Fields and Twan, those guys coming in, man, that's a lot of security in the athletes that we have. It's just amazing, dog. I'm just forever grateful, forever thankful, and I want to just bust my butt to do my part, so that way I can be whatever they need to reach whatever they want to reach.
Coach, there's a lot of respect in that room, and you can feel it. Thank you for doing this. All the best through camp, and we can't wait to get out in live action. 7 days.
Oh, yeah. Let's get it.
Even that right there just makes me want to go run through a wall of humans for that coach.
You're not alone. There's an entire defense that feels that way right now. And again, just talking with some of the defenders, some of the veterans, that they are really, really excited about what Josh Bell's defense is going to look like this year.
Well, we're looking forward to see it all come together. Day 3 of training camp gets underway from Griffith Stadium tomorrow. I know you and Luc Mullinder are all over everything that's going to be happening on the field and thereafter, and you'll be found at the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on the show today. I know it's a busy week for you guys up there, so don't work too hard.
Never. We're talking football. This isn't work, is it?
Okay, well, just don't let Luke have too many beers tonight.
Well, I won't do that. I'm more worried about the food that he's ordered.
Oh, jeez. Well, you guys are going to be eating like kings for the next few days.
Yes, we will.
Okay, appreciate this. As always, Dave, we'll have you back on tomorrow. Enjoy the night.
Thanks so much, Teagan. Have a good one.
You too. Dave Thomas, of course, joining us from the Red Zone Sports Bar up in Saskatoon. He and Luc Mullinder have got you covered with everything you need to know over the next couple of weeks. So go hang out with them if you'd like as well. You can watch the games with friends. They have daily specials, the most screens in Saskatoon, the Red Zone Sports Bar. And they were joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. We are going to take a break because we got to come back. We're running low on time here, but your sports ticker is next. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Earlier today, the Flin Flon Bombers beat the Greater Sudbury Cubs 6-4 in the Centennial Cup, which means they will now have a day off tomorrow before they take on the Bearcats to finish out the round robin on Wednesday. NHL Playoffs round 2. You got the Avs and Wild going at it in just a little bit here, a couple of minutes away from that 6 o'clock puck drop. Minnesota looking to even up that series with Colorado at 2 games apiece. And it looks like there will be a change in net for Colorado as well, bringing in Mackenzie Blackwood. PWHL, tonight's Game 5 of the Walter Cup playoffs have been postponed. The game between Minnesota and Montreal was postponed due to players' safety concerns related to illness. They did state in their press release that it was nothing to do with hantavirus, something unrelated. And then Toronto Blue Jays, Tampa Bay Rays, first of a 3-game set in Toronto. Right now, the Rays are up 5-3 at the top of the 3rd. And let me see here, SportsCage.com poll. Which position battle are you watching closely for the Roughrider Training Camp? Vote at SportsCage.com. That was your sports ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Now, that is all the time I get with you today. So on behalf of Dave, Luc up in Saskatoon at the Red Zone Sports Bar, for Colson Schultz and myself, good night from the Sports Cage studio on the corner of 12th and Rose. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at SportsCage.com. Hey, thanks for listening to the Sports Cage podcast, brought to you by Fries Tallman Lumber. It's more than just a lumber yard, locally owned, family grown, rooted in our community for 70 years. Located in Regina and Fort Capel, and delivery available.